There we go. Hello, my friends. How are you doing? Today we have a special guest, and I hope this might be the first stream where everything works. I have headphones, so we don't have like a feedback or something. And Purz is very, very good with video AI. Can you hear me? I hope you can hear me. So we will check that out today. And let me switch over to the screen so you can also see him. There we go. Hello, Purz. Oh, wait a second. Now again. Sorry, the sound was off for you.
Hello, hello.
All right, that should work. That should work. He's showing us today, mostly inside of ComfyUI, what he's doing with video AI things. Wait, I'm gonna switch the screen to my screen for a moment. That should work. It does not work, of course.
Always.
Now it works. There we go. Okay. So this is his channel. He does a lot of live streams where he shows all kinds of projects with motion LoRa's and video animation done in AI, and like explains all of the different things on how they work. He also makes tutorials about that. He has a Patreon also, and I think also like you can download the LoRa's from Hugging Face, I think. I'm not quite sure. You have to explain that. But he makes very good content. If you want to be good at video AI stuff, you should absolutely follow his account. Just enter Purz on YouTube, search for that, and subscribe to his channel. Okay, I should subscribe too. That might be a good idea. There we go. Okay, and let's go back to the screen of Purz. This is his computer, not mine. So he's doing the things today. All right, it's yeah.
All right. Hey everybody, I'm Purz, like Olivio said, and thanks for having me, man. This is really fun. Yeah, I normally live stream from ComfyUI, and we get into stuff, break it, and fix it, and we get diving. I think today we're just gonna do some video AI stuff. I'm gonna do a little animate diff overview from the ground up, and we'll try to make some cool stuff. We'll just start with a dead. Oh, yep.
I'm just thinking about, like, are you planning on maybe doing something with Swarm UI with a simplified interface that you can like give to your Patreon supporters or something like that, so they can like render videos without all that hustle? No. Okay. We leave that to the startups.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea. The only thing is I don't want to support that. I would rather teach people how to empower themselves and learn how to make that stuff, right? And then, services will always provide those kind of tools for us. So.
Yes.
Yeah. And, someday when that gets better, when there's a proper interface for building interfaces, yes, but it's been my thing for a long time that all we truly need in Comfy is proper subgraphs. Or groups that actually work correctly, so that I can just have like one node. My workflow is like one node that you could then go into to edit, but that unfortunately is not the case yet.
I see. Okay.
All right. So yeah. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you guys have already used ComfyUI, but if not, this is ComfyUI. It's a workflow automation. Python workflow automation tool. Just basically, it's a way of connecting all these different technologies together in a visual node based method. And I know Olivio shows a lot of stuff in Comfy as well.
And this is the new interface, by the way, in case if you're confused, because I usually use the old interface with the sides floating menu. This is the new one where it's on the top and on the side.
Yeah, you can edit all that in the, I believe, this little settings thing here.
There's, you can change it.
All the settings are. But yeah, this is the new interface. This is what they're trying to push for the new version of Comfy as well. And pretty soon, you guys will be able to download the standalone version of Comfy, which is even easier to use. Really, they're just working out the kinks right now, I believe.
Right. Yeah.
All right, well, let's get started with a simple animate diff workflow. So images and videos are the same thing, except videos are just a string of images. So that's how we're going to consider that today. We're just making batches of images that work together. That's basically what a video is. So we'll just start with the old load checkpoint node. So I just double click somewhere and bring up this little node search bar, and we're gonna look for load checkpoint. And then we're gonna pick the animate. I'm gonna pick Realism by Stable Yogi LCM. This is available on Civet and a bunch of other places. There's a million checkpoints. You can use whatever you like. For LCM, I like to use an LCM checkpoint itself, but you can turn any checkpoint into an LCM checkpoint with the LCM LoRA. So you're not stuck to the LCM checkpoints exactly, but this.
And this is 1.5 or what? Because it says 1.5.
That's right. Yep. Yeah. 1.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Animate diff. Animate diff only works with SD1.5.
Ah. And so, why use 1.5 instead of SDXL or a Flux with Turbo?
There's no animate diff model for Flux, and the SDXL one is trash.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So after a checkpoint, we're going to load a LoRa loader. And we're going to use the V3 adapter. So this is part of LCM. This adapter here, V3 SD1.5 adapter, you can Google that. It basically cleans up the motion in your animation when you're using LCM, so it's less jagged and weird. Hacks. And we pass model and clip through there. So purple and yellow. Model and clip go into the load LoRa. And then we need we're going to take our clip and make prompts out of it. So we need a clip text encode node. So you can always drag a noodle off and let go. And then the nodes that it thinks you should use will show up at the bottom here, which can save you a lot of time. So let's see if I can make this bigger. Yeah, of course, it's the same size. So drag the noodle off, let go, and then say clip text encode. And that's this is a positive prompt. We're going to make it green. And then we're going to copy and paste, Control-C, Control-V, and we're going to make a negative prompt, which I'll turn red. And the clip goes into both of these. So this is our positive and negative prompt. This is YouTube, so let's add NSFW and nude to the negative prompt to make sure we don't get anything weird. And then, we could just say water flowing. Water flowing or something just to test it. We can start playing with this stuff as it goes on. So our positive and negative prompt, we have our load checkpoint and our load LoRa. We need to also an animate diff model loader. So let's add that. Animate diff loader. I use the legacy loader because I don't need all the fancy stuff for V3 because we're using LCM.
Mm-hmm. By the way, let me know in the chat if I should do more like video AI stuff, because usually I'm stuck to image generation. So if you want to see more video stuff, which I might also do with online platforms because it's very hardware hungry. But yeah, do you have a problem with that, by the way, with the hardware? Do you have a lot of users who say, hey, I can't run that because it takes like 4 hours to render 10 seconds or something?
No, not really. This stuff, when you want to get into local video, you basically need a GPU with more than 12 or 16 gigs. So it's not even fun to do this locally on 8 gigs and stuff. Like, you can, it's okay, but as you know, you start running into VRAM problems, it sucks. Yeah, it just sucks. So this is more of a 12, 16 gig plus thing to do locally. If you don't have that, then either rent the GPU or just use like Runway or any of the online cloud services to do your video animation.
Right.
You can have a bad time basically. So we load up our animate diff loader. We use the text to video animate LCM model. Sorry, pardon me. If you go into the manager, install custom nodes, you want to look for animate diff. And you want animate diff evolved. This right here is the backbone of this entire operation. So you want to install that, and then from here, if you click on the little blue link on the left, it'll bring you to their GitHub, and then on here, there's all the downloads for all the models that you'll need as well. So all the models that I'm mentioning here, all the links are on the GitHub for animate diff evolved.
Right. Yeah. Carlos is asking us, does Runway, Sora, and Vido also use animate diff or something like a different technology?
No, they have their own proprietary engines. especially Runway. They train their own models. That's why you pay for their services, because they are completely proprietary.
But
This
are the
is only
models just the models are different, or the rest of the
the
process is
entire
also
architecture.
different?
Yeah, entire
Everything
architecture
different.
is different.
Ah,
Yeah.
interesting. Okay. Yeah.
Animate diff is just a specific little thing that you can do locally. Some of the platforms use it, but they don't say that they use it because it's against the GPL to spin up a ComfyUI based service without open sourcing your deployment code.
Mm.
Yeah, fun. All
Right.
So model name, text to video, animate LCM, text to video. Beta schedule is LCM greater than square root linear. So LCM squirt linear, motion scale I like to set to 1.15 to start. This is how much movement you get in your video.
Right.
And then we don't need to apply the V2 models properly because we're not using the V2 models. We're using animate LCM. V2 and V3, you can check that box, but that's when you're not using LCM. It takes a lot longer though because you got to render way more steps.
Another Carlos is asking, the ideogram workflow is better for. Wait, I just read the whole comment. I still find ideogram works better than all ComfyUI LoRA setups with human interaction. Is there any way to do two people interacting with this workflow?
I mean, yes, we can get to that with ControlNet and stuff at the end, but I mean, so if you're just trying to do straight text to prompt, this is not for you. This stuff is for when you want to exert absolute control over many different aspects of your animation. If you're just trying to slot machine, get a result, Runway and Minimax, all that will be much better, much easier for you to just type in what you want and get that. With this, you need to actually make the stuff, become a compositor, and do all this stuff with After Effects or other things. And we'll get into masking and all that stuff and how that works. But yeah, like if you just want to like say two people dancing, this is not the way to do it. You just use one of the services. This is for animate diff specific animation. You'll see what I mean when we start making animations. They don't look like Runway and Minimax and stuff. It's a completely different.
Right. And if you have a video input where you have two people dancing, and just like basically do a style change to render the AI over that, is that possible with that, or?
Yes, it is, but it's not. It doesn't work exactly like that, and we'll get into that after we build the simple workflows. I'll dive into deeper stuff like masking humans and what that looks like.
Right.
That stuff gets very complicated very quickly. So let's just start with like dead simple prompting, and then we'll build out the workflow as things bloom.
Okay, cool.
Show you all the different kind of ways you can control it. But right now we're gonna just kind of dream wildly with a prompt, and then we'll learn how to like hone it in.
Okay.
So next you need a context options, and this is what it determines whether your animation loops or whether your animation is just a straight one-shot animation. Excuse me, and it's also how you control the length of the context windows. So animate diff has a context window, and that context window is basically, this model was trained on 16 frame chunks of animations, and then it weaves those chunks together into a animation that changes over time. So you get a smooth animation that changes every 16 frames. So we're using looped uniform. Context length is 16. You leave that alone. But this overlap number here determines how those contexts interact with each other. So a higher number means a more slower, more interpolated change. Lower number is a faster, like jerkier change on.
Which of the numbers are we talking about? Oh, the overlap number. Okay, sorry.
Overlap right here, yeah. And so leave context length at 16 because that's what the model was trained at. Context stride, you don't have to worry about. Context overlap is, again, like I said, the sort of interpolation between the context. And I'll show you what I mean once we get going. This stuff's very technical and weird before you see the examples. So, yeah. All right. Closed loop and use on equal length. This helps with the looping options if you want loops. If you don't care that you don't want your animation to loop, you can use the context options standard uniform instead, plug it in here, and that'll make a animation that doesn't loop. So if you're doing video to video, this is probably better than the looped one. But we're just making text prompts, so we're just gonna make them loop because I think they look pretty. Motion LoRa's, you can go download custom motion LoRa's off of Civitai, and Hugging Face, a bunch of places. I trained them myself to have some videos on how to do that. But that's basically a way of injecting your own motion into the Animate Diff Motion LoRa. So you would train it on like a 16 frame chunk of animation, and then it'll do that movement over and over again in your anime. But I'm not going to use one for now. We're just going to use the base model.
So it has to be a pretty, like, rather quick motion, because otherwise
16 frames is not a lot. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Okay.
Like it'd be like a person like moving or something, and then that would always happen, this sort of movement.
So any longer movement, you can't train that?
No, not with diff.
All
right. So we have our animate diff settings. I'll make those light blue. Try and keep this stuff color coordinated so it's easy to read.
Right.
Okay. And now we need a K sampler, just like an image workflow. And we plug our model in there, and we grab our positive prompt and plug that into positive. Grab our negative prompt, plug that into negative. We also need a node called empty latent space or empty latent noise. What is it? Empty latent image? Yeah. And this will determine our width and height, the canvas window size, and the amount of frames that we're about to run. So Animate Diff's default, rather Animate LCM's default resolution is 576 by 320. So we'll start there, and then we can upscale stuff.
Okay. It's pretty low resolution. Interesting.
24. It's actually, yeah, don't worry about the size. We can make it bigger later. Yeah, it's better to start here and get what you like and then move it up. So grab latent, plug it into latent image.
Isn't it crazy that nothing has like developed in this regard? Like all the like image things?
I'll show you how to do bigger ones, but we're just going to start with the base stuff.
Yeah, but you're still using a 1.5 model, so all this kind of precision and text and whatnot is not really there, right? You can't do that. Like saying a woman like holding up a sign, shaking a sign, or something that says "I love you" doesn't work with that, right?
Yeah. Again, if you want that stuff, I would definitely go with one of the services. That's not what this stuff's for.
I see. Okay. Makes
so
sense.
Let's go back to our K sampler. We have our stuff plugged in, so we're gonna do our settings here. We're gonna randomize a seed because you can fix it. You can do whatever you like.
Right.
This way, I don't change it every time.
I'm gonna grab a coffee real quick. One second. Back in a minute.
No worries. Right on. So with LCM, we'll do 11 steps, a CFG of 1.3. The sampler name will be LCM, and the scheduler will be beta. So these are our basic settings for the K sampler for an Animate LCM animation. You can add more steps if you want. You can add a higher CFG and all that stuff, but lower CFG with Animate LCM will do quicker renders. So, like we're just relying on speed today. So after the K sampler, we need a VAE decode. So we're going to take our latent image and turn it into a video with this. I'm going to plug our samples from the latent, and then the VAE comes from our loader. And then we need a VHS node called Video Combine. VHS nodes are available in the manager. Go to Custom Nodes Manager, Video Helper Suite. Right there. So install that, and that'll help you sequence and deal with videos in your workflow. And we're going to use the Video Combine node. From that node, plug the image in from the VAE decoder. We're going to change the frame rate to 24 frames per second and set the format to MP4. CRF is the amount of compression on your video. The lower the number, the less compression you use. So we're going to set it to about 13 for a good value of file size and quality. And here in file name prefix, you can determine what folder inside your output folder it goes to. So we'll do ADIF /ADIF. So it'll put it in an ADIF folder called ADIF. And this will just work. It should just work. Let's try it. And this is a very dead simple, basic Animate Diff workflow that we can just start building out, adding control to. So, color blue. Okay, let's run it. It's going to load the model, pass it through the LoRA,
right,
feed it through our conditioning chain, then go into the animate diff loader, and it'll jump into the K-sampler now.
Okay.
There we go. Water is flowing.
All right. Okay.
This is why we start small with resolution, because then we can see what we're doing really quickly. We can iterate very quickly. Then as you get what you like, you can start increasing the size and speed. There we go. And the preview in the node is somewhat broken right now. It looks like crap. So just right click on it and hit open preview, and you can see the actual version. And so it is a loop, and it looks good. So
is there, sorry, for the chat, is there a lot of noise on my channel right now? It looks like it's going crazy. Do you hear like a lot of like hissing or something? I don't know. The preview of the mic looks kind of strange here. Just let me know. Okay, go on, sorry.
No worries. So yeah, this is the most basic workflow. You can say ocean wave, got a batch size of 32. So we're a 32 frame batch size of 32 frame video, which means it's going to hit two contexts. So 16 frames, then another 16 frames, and we'll see the overlap in between. And the higher your context overlap, the smoother that change will be. Lower the jerkier it'll be.
Okay. Can you zoom in a little bit on the video so we can see it? Oh, you're loading another one, but yeah. There we go, so we can see.
Yeah, again, this preview, for whatever reason, in the node looks bad, but yeah, see, there you go. And that's a perfect loop, and that will continue to be a perfect loop forever.
Oh, okay, cool.
Which is something you can't do with a lot of the services. So.
Right.
But yeah, animate diff is a much more abstract way of thinking of doing animation. Like I said, if you want those Hollywood-looking videos that you see on Twitter and stuff, you're going to want to use Minimax or Runway or one of those other ones, but this is for like hacking and exploration of the models themselves.
Well, from your experience, what is the service where you think you say you get the best results and like a good price that people can afford?
None of them are really affordable, because in my opinion, you need an unlimited account to learn how to use them. So you basically got to dive in at the $95 a month thing. So it's this is not a cheap hobby. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
This is another reason to do it locally. If you have the GPU already, But I like Minimax's quality the best. Kling is good. Runway is great. What I would do is definitely go on Twitter and type those names in. And go look at all the videos that people are making with them and determine which one works the best for you. Runway is very clean, very simple, very deliberate looking stuff. Kling and Minimax can be absolutely unhinged and make like crazy stuff. Like, the videos where you'll see like food turning into animals and stuff. That's always Kling or Minimax.
Okay.
Yeah, and so the other thing is they will say, they will have a cheap option to get started, but that's a credit-based system, and you'll run out of credits almost immediately. That's what I mean by you kind of need an unlimited account to learn how to use it, because, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Once you've done like 5 animations, they'll be like, all right, more money, please. Like, all right.
Yeah.
But that's how they make money. So, whatever.
From your experience, do you think like they actually do have such a high cost, or they just like milk it because there's no alternative right now?
Their costs are fixed. You'll notice all the services are essentially $95-$75 a month for unlimited. They've all sort of decided that's the price. Do I think that they can do it
but that
cheaper?
doesn't really mean they have that kind of cost, right? Because basically on like every kind of thing you want to have online, it's almost like they kind of decided most of the stuff, like a calendar or whatnot is $20 or any kind of other thing. And then there's like these tiers for different services.
Yeah.
If they have the cost or not, I don't know. But do you think they have that kind of cost, or?
No, I think they sequestered the GPUs in a deal that lasts many years. I think they're just selling off their GPU compute, renting GPUs, renting their cloud out basically at whatever price they want. Could they do it cheaper? Yeah, probably, but they have to recoup the cost of research and development. There's an entire
That's true.
staff
Yes.
of people that trained these models. Sorry, I got sick
Mm.
in Japan, so I've got a bit of a
Right.
cough. But yeah, so like they got to recoup the cost of training these models. So
Mm.
maybe it would be like they could do it cheaper, but I think a lot of them are doing it as cheaply as they can while still staying afloat. So
Right.
you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
but I guess that's what the credit accounts are for if you just want to play around and stuff like that.
Yeah. True.
So
Yeah.
yeah, this is a basic workflow where we could just keep typing things in and having them come up. But if we want to start exerting a little bit more control, we can add. Let's start with prompt scheduling. Some of you might have used Deforum back in the day, where you can say, at frame this, do this, at frame this, do that. We have
Uh-huh.
that ability in Animate Diff as well. So let's replace our positive prompt here with the prompt schedule.
Or can we do maybe a motion LoRa, or you want to do that later?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
Prompt
Okay.
scheduling.
Good.
Trying to find the right node. There it is. Prompt schedule. This is a Fizz nodes node by Fizzledorf. He's a
Wow.
developer in the community, and as you can see, there's like this little thing here with 0, 11, 23, 35. This would be
Right.
like apple, orange, grape, and then we'll go back to apple. So it'll be a loop. And we'll do 16, 32, 48.
Uh-huh.
And get rid of all this extra stuff. So this will go from an apple to an orange to a grape back to an apple. And we need to set our so now that we have a maximum amount of frames and a batch size, now we have a place where we need to set our frame rate in two places. So whenever you have to set a variable in more than one place, I like to make it a separate variable. So we're going to add a integer, primitive integer, and this is from the Chris Tools node pack, but there's a million different primitives. These are just variables. This is a way of defining a variable and then plugging it into a bunch of things. So we're going to say we want to make a 64 frame animation. We're going to plug that into our batch size. And we're also going to plug it into our total frames, max frames. So now
you
we
can
can
drag
set our...
1 second. You can drag an
Yeah, that's
input?
new. Yeah. Yeah, it's new.
Really?
It's
And
new.
it creates an input? Oh, shit.
Yeah, so nice, right?
Right. That's really useful.
Yeah, so then we'll rename this to frame count so that we know that this is our total frame count for the animation.
Ah.
And you can do this anywhere. Same, I like to do it with width and height as well, because as we add stuff, we're going to want to resize masks and stuff to the same size. So let's just keep going on this, and we're going to add two more of these integers, and we're going to call them width, and we're going to call height. Oh, that's new. Don't like that. All right, width will be 576 and height will be 320, and we're going to plug the width into width and height into height. So next time we need that, we have these variables here on the side. Go.
Awesome.
Green. All right. So I've made a 64 frame animation. At frame 0, it'll be an apple. Frame 16, orange. Frame 32, a grape. And then frame 48 is going to switch back to an apple, and then it'll run for another 16 frames or whatever until we get to 64. And re-loop.
Perfect.
Positive into our positive. And you don't need to plug the negative in. You can use your existing negative. All these settings here are for weighting, like adding weights to these prompts, but we don't have to deal with any of that stuff.
Okay.
This will work fine as is.
Uh-huh. So is this limited to like 4 prompts, or you can do more?
Yeah, you can. This can be as long as you like and as long as your animation. So yeah.
Okay.
We'll plug our clip in and current frame. Why are you mad? Oh, I might have used the wrong node. Batch prompt schedule is the node I want. Batch prompt schedule, not prompt schedule. So let's copy and paste this in here. Maximum frames we're going to grab from there. Clip goes in here, and we can delete this one.
All right.
Positive to positive, and green. That should work.
Oh no, it's okay. Good.
All right.
Good.
Yeah. There we go. Bit. So because this is a 64 frame animation, it'll take longer. The way Animate Diff works is it does the entire animation in one gulp. So you can only go sort of as big as you have VRAM for. If you try to go too big, then it'll start swapping the system memory and it will take forever and you will hate it. Or you might get an error and run out of memory. So, yeah.
Right. But is it like 24 frames takes double as long as 12? Or is it like with what they call Mochi, where it's getting way slower the more frames you have?
Yeah, no. The more frames is the more steps is more. More equals more. So there's no
right. I see.
There's no magic.
So it's like how would you call that? I don't know the math word. Linear is probably the wrong word for that, right?
Hey, apple, orange, grape, apple, orange, grape, apple, orange, grape. Okay, so this is prompt travel, and this is a really cool way of telling a story too. You can say like, let's try like a man standing in a rainy alley, holding an umbrella. Man in an alley reading a newspaper. A man in an alley jumping for joy, and then he's back to holding an umbrella in an alley. Now, this should be totally wild and unhinged because Animate Diff doesn't have any temporal consistency, really. None of the models really do, and we're actually going to increase the length of these to 32, 64.
Okay.
64 plus 32 is... Math.
96,
64
right?
plus 32. Yeah, 96.
Right.
You want to do math, by the way, if you want to do math in Comfy, you can grab any integer and just say like 32 plus 96 or whatever, and it'll give you the answer when you type it.
Right.
Let's go to 96, and we'll do 128 frame animation.
Ooh, okay.
All right. So that way we'll get 32 frames of each context window, so we should get more time in each prompt, basically.
By the way, how come you don't do the interpolation node?
Oh, you can. Yeah, I just, don't really need it. Animate Diff smooth enough as it is. If you want to just slow it down and get, 2x, you can do that. I just don't love the way it looks.
Oh, I see. Interesting.
Huge fan of the interpolated look. But yeah, to do that,
is there a method where you say you want to like, because I don't think interpolation calculates the in-between frames in a way that's like makes sense. You know what I mean? Like actually understanding and filling in the motions that you need.
Oh, like, no, it would need to dream in new detail to do that, and none of them do that.
And is there any process to do that where you say you make a video and it has like 12 frames, but actually it's 4 times that long? So you have another process that like renders the in-between frames for you?
I mean, just with frame interpolation, but I don't love the way that looks because it has
another method where it dreams up the in-between steps, so it's becoming really smooth? Not really, right?
Not really, no. Okay. You can do that with diff. Like you can upscale with Animate Diff, but again, you're just going to run into a new batch of similar problems. So I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Really a thing.
And something like, I mean, it doesn't look good either, but in video cutting software, you often have like stuff like optical flow. Something like that.
That's the same as frame interpolation. Same concept.
It is?
Yep.
I thought it's making up new stuff.
No, it's just frame interpolation.
Oh, I
same with Topaz.
Kind of
same thing.
Process.
Yeah, Topaz probably looks the best.
Okay.
You pay for it.
Right. But Topaz is a one-time payment, right? They don't have a subscription.
No, not anymore.
Not anymore? They changed it?
Yeah, you pay
Ah.
every year. You pay every year for Topaz. Now you own
Oh, for the
Topaz.
updates though.
Yeah, but then the updates next year will be, twice as fast. So
Right, right, right.
you can stop paying, but it'll suck.
Mm. Right, right, right.
After a year or two, you'll want to pay
you
again.
can you can check out, but you can never leave.
Yeah, yeah. So Hotel California rules.
Right, right. There we
But
go.
here's our guy. He's
Oh
wearing an
wow.
umbrella, I guess, and then
Yeah.
walking down the alley, and So yeah, this is diff. It's a dream. It's a hallucination, right?
Yes.
It's just walking through the context windows. You can see that nice overlap as things change in the background. That's it,
Right.
jumping from context window to context window.
Is there so how do
So
you get more consistency into that background?
so now, after you've done exploration in this method and you want to exert more control, we need to start adding things like ControlNet and IP adapter and processing input footage and then using it. So let's add ControlNet to the mix.
Hmm.
So we have our animate diff and we have our K sampler. So in between there, I'm going to add an apply ControlNet node. Apply ControlNet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to add, let's do a depth to start. So let's add a ControlNet loader advanced. Pick our depth ControlNet for SD15. Boop. And now we need to pre-process some input footage into a depth map. So let's add load video.
Uh-huh.
And then where are documents, creative exploration, input videos? I'll grab a dancer.
All right.
So there he is. Go to frame, I don't know, 400. And we'll load the, 64 frames. Yeah, so we'll get, this will be our input footage here. And then we will turn this into a depth map and use that depth map to drive the animation that we're working. So grab the image. We're going to image scale, which is upscale image. We use this to resize footage.
Mm-hmm.
Plug that in, and now this is why we made our width and height variables, because I can plug those in now to here. And now we're resizing this video to the same size as our canvas. And then we just crop center so that we don't get a squishy image.
Right.
We take that and we're going to run it into a preprocessor called depth anything.
Siki is asking if there is any kind of image-to-image render.
It's literally what we're doing now.
Right.
But we're going to use the depth map to control it better than just doing straight image to image. You can do image to image, but we're doing an animation, so you would need a video, and then just doing straight image to image with animate diff is not amazing.
Okay.
That's why we're using ControlNet to actually, do the thing correctly.
Right.
So positive comes from our positive, negative comes from our negative, and that's the way ControlNet works. You pass your conditioning through ControlNet. So positive, positive, negative, negative, and this image comes from our depth map generator.
Mm-hmm.
And we can also make one of these little video combines underneath here to see what we're doing.
Yes.
And just turn the save output off so that you don't save these little preview windows. There's
Mm-hmm.
no point in saving all your...
But if you would save it, you could use it without a preprocessor.
Yes, yeah, you only have to preprocess it once if you want to save them.
Right.
But, once you change the amount of frames and stuff, you're going to have to make a new one anyway. So,
And
it's so fast, who cares?
Right.
All right, so that should do it. These yellow because they're on the conditioning. So now it's pre-processing this video into a depth map.
Uh-huh.
You can see it moving here.
Oh, but you didn't change the prompt, right?
No, I didn't.
So I'm gonna see some dancing apples.
No, we're going to see a man standing in a rainy alley holding an umbrella, but he'll be dancing.
Dancing in the rain. There we go. Very good.
Yeah. Yeah, you can just go back to using a regular prompt with this, because now we're exerting so much control that it's going to do this in the animation.
Right.
So, and also you can just type wild stuff into this too and see what that does, right? This is what I mean by the modularity of everything. You're plugging in different things, and you can plug them in wrong, and you can type the wrong stuff, and get crazy abstract animations. But yeah, here we go. He's dancing.
Okay, cool.
So this is how we actually exert control over animate diff, is with ControlNet and IP adapters and stuff like that. So after this, we'll add IP adapters, because that will let us just use images to determine what we want it to look like, which is easier, in my opinion, than prompting, especially if you already make images, because you probably have folders and folders and folders of stuff.
Right. Cool.
Is it possible to use a static image for background and then use ControlNet to create the animation? Yep. No, absolutely. You can mask things out and affect different things based on different masks. We can get into that as well.
Okay.
That's an IP adapters thing. That workflow gets a little more complicated, but happy to build it. Upscale is cyan. Right. These settings here on ControlNet, they determine how hard the ControlNet grabs on and exerts control. So your strength, if you lower that, it'll just, as a general rule, use a little bit less ControlNet or more, more over the thing. But this start and end % is the real magic. Start % and end % means like, at what point in the run do we start adding ControlNet, and at what point do we stop adding ControlNet? So this is not a frame by frame situation. This is a over the course of the animation thing. So it doesn't mean that at the start of the animation it's going to do ControlNet and then the end it won't. What it means is throughout the course of the entire run, because like I said, animate diff does things in one big gulp. This is more like a holistic view of the entire animation. So this start %, if you set this at like par 0.25 and you end it at 0.75, what that means is it's going to start the run from just absolute noise and just dream wildly. And then 25% of the way through the run, the ControlNet's going to take over and do its thing. And then 75% through the run, it's going to let go and just let it dream wildly. So if your animation is looking way too much like the input footage, that's a way to these are ways of weighting that to control to bring in more dream and bring out some of the control.
Right.
Like, ControlNet can get really crazy because you can just keep stacking all the different control nets. Like there's depth, there's line art, there's QR code, there's a million of them.
And do you feel like a lower amount gives you a better quality because the model has more like range to do stuff, or?
Yeah, it just absolutely depends on what you're going for. Like if you want this to look exactly like the input footage, yeah, crank it to 1 and 0, 1. This is full strength, full everything. And you'll see when it finishes that it's a lot like the input footage. And it'll even get all this stuff in the background. Like it'll get these pillars and this stuff. But you can always use traditional compositing to just pull the person. Yeah, see?
There we go.
And things are changing because this is animate diff and we're jumping through context windows.
Why is he stopping in the middle? Do you know?
Because that's what he does in the animation.
Really?
Our footage that we put in, I only loaded 64 frames.
Right.
But our animation is 128 frames.
So we don't have enough of the ControlNet, and it doesn't loop inside of the ControlNet.
No, all we have to do then is take our frame count and plug that into our frame cap. So now it's going to load 128 frames of this video instead of 64. Like this was just a mistake I made.
Okay.
It stops because there's no more input footage, which is actually a cool effect on its own as well. You can use to like, freeze and. So yeah, let's go back. Let's make a 64 frame animation. I'm going to get rid of this prompt schedule, and we're just going to go back to a regular.
So what is the benefit of a motion LoRA over something like this? Because you can do like abstract animations.
It's not a benefit situation. It's just a way to add more control. You wouldn't use motion LoRAs when you're trying to control the input footage with ControlNet. That's more of I'm just doing a dream and I want to imbibe emotion over it.
Right.
So I wouldn't use a motion LoRA with ControlNet. I would use it maybe with just IP adapter or something.
Okay.
All right. Oh no. Pin. There we go. All right. Green. So we're going to use IP adapter now instead of a prompt to control what it looks like. So our prompt can just be 4K high quality. And we're going to move all this stuff over, and I'm going to add IP adapter to the mix. And that'll let us, take an image and make that the prompt. So let's add IP adapter. Advanced. Yeah. This is a part of the IP adapter plus node pack. It's in the manager. Some nodes, IP adapter. It's by Cubic, who's a prolific dev in our community, otherwise known as Latent Vision on YouTube. Go give him a follow. He makes very cool in-depth videos on how all this stuff works. Explains it very technically and very well in a way that is very easy to understand. So yeah, he literally makes the tools. So who better to tell you? So model, we need to add the IP adapter unified loader. So that's a new node. Well, not new, but newer. And it actually makes it a lot easier for us to load the IP adapter models.
I'm so surprised that like people like Latent Vision, who like everybody is using ControlNet, and still he has like 30,000 subscribers on YouTube. It's so strange. Like, why wouldn't everybody like check the videos of the source? Although I can understand like making videos is a certain amount of like skill, and you have to make like good videos so people want to watch them. So maybe that has an influence on that. But still, I kind of like would have expected to be much more.
Yeah, he makes fantastic videos, but you got to remember this community is not that big. Like,
yes,
the Comfy community is a small community. It's growing every day, but it's a bunch of nerds that are learning how to build these. Like the beautiful thing about Comfy is it actually teaches you the diffusion process. So all the stuff we're doing here, we're actually adjusting things and dealing with the chain as you would if you were a programmer, but we're doing it visually, so you can actually visualize it without having to understand all the concepts behind it. So this is like a great way to learn how diffusion works.
Right.
So we'll make you cyan, you blue. So basically what IP adapter does is it looks at an image, and then it uses that to like reprompt for you. So if I use this cat, it'll turn this dude into a cat. Maybe. Let's try that.
Oh, okay.
So pass our model through. IP adapter lives on the model chain.
So what are we using right now from the IP adapter? So this is like the style transfer, probably, right?
Yeah. It's taking. So it takes this, it turns it into a prompt, and works with this prompt to restyle the animation.
But isn't like I thought with the advanced IP adapter you can take just the style and like less of the content of the image?
Yes, that's in the weight type. You can start playing with these. So IP adapter is a rabbit hole you can go down for a year if you want.
Right.
But just for today, we're just going to leave everything normal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
you can do style transfer. You can do. These are just mathematical curves that determine how the IP adapter works. So if you think of a linear curve, that's just a straight 0 to 1, and like the curve looks like a diagonal line, and it just goes from 0 to 1, no change. But if you were to go ease in or ease out, that makes the curve like it'll start and then ramp up to the thing. So like there's different ways of adjusting the way IP adapter talks to things. There he goes.
Okay. Very nice. Do you on your channel do any kind of combination of this with any kind of like video cutting software, After Effects or something, to show some like going further with that, what you can do on different layers, effects, blah, all this kind of stuff?
I mean, not really. We could, but it's, that's just traditional video editing. Like
because you have AI input, you can do stuff you couldn't do with the traditional means. So it's still like, I think it has a lot of like potential. I don't know
Yeah,
After
absolutely.
Effects, but I think you could do some pretty cool stuff. Because recently I saw with like I'm trying to do shorts. I didn't do it short today. I try to do more shorts with Runway, and I'm using CapCut for it. And with these effects, you can of course like kind of like elevate the quality and make it look nicer. Because you added some additional things that look on their own better than the animation itself, and in combination together you get something like new out of it that is something you couldn't do any other way, and it's pretty kind of like impressive.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I do a lot of that myself, but there's a bunch of YouTubers that teach you how to use Resolve and CapCut and stuff. So
That's true.
we're just
Right.
making input footage, right? So you can do whatever you like with that input footage.
Right.
Yeah.
By the way, on
I
that
like
note, I'm kind of like surprised that there isn't more in the, or maybe I haven't seen it, but like the effects we have in CapCut, where, for example, it flows the body shape and makes some kind of like glowing that flows around your body, this kind of like body tracking kind of effect. Kind of interesting. We haven't seen that too much with AI, that they, create like visual effects with AI based
watch
on.
my last stream with ACATS. ACATS makes a node pack for doing this exact thing.
Okay, cool.
He
What's the
makes
name?
ACATS, AKATZ. His node
Okay.
pack is ACATS custom nodes.
Right.
AKATZ, and ACATS is very good dev because he actually documents his nodes. Can you believe that?
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. So basically, his nodes will. I don't know if he has examples on here now. Find them, but basically, he can take a mask like a person and then dilate the mask around the person like with audio reactivity and stuff like that to make like really cool animations. So yeah,
Interesting.
ACATS, Ryan on the inside. There's a bunch of guys doing this stuff.
Awesome.
I'll have Ryan on the stream soon too.
Right.
Right. Boo. Okay. Yeah. So we got our cat person. They're dancing. Everything's cool. It actually did everything in the scene. So what we were talking about was separating the background and the person. Let's do that. So IP adapter, like any of these things, you can stack. So we're going to stack another layer of IP adapter. So we're going to have a subject and a background. So the model goes through it. IP adapter plugs into both. And now we need to use this attention masking thing to tell it where to do each thing. So let's change this to like a background image. Breakfast. That's cool. So we'll make the cat dance at breakfast. So we're going to use a node called ByRefNet. It's in the ByRefNet 2 node pack. The model is auto download ByRefNet. We're going to pick matting is my favorite. And so we're going to take this video that we have and run it through ByRefNet. And ByRefNet will separate the subject from the background. And it'll give us a mask that we can use. So this mask plugs right into the attention mask of the subject. And then you add an invert mask. And it'll give you the opposite, which will plug into the background. So now it'll plugged in there. There we go. So now this will be the subject, this will be the background, and we can view what this is doing by adding another one of these lovely video combines. Plug that into image, and then you'll be able to see what we're doing here. And then we can actually visualize this further by grabbing this mask here and saying convert mask to image. And we'll just add 2 more video combines under here so we can visualize these masks well. Mask, these, invert mask, plug it in here. So now we'll be able to see what each mask is affecting.
All right.
All right, so that's it, I believe.
Perfect.
Oh, what did I miss? Oh, yeah, I got to plug you in.
Is there a UI like... Oh, sorry. Go on.
I just say Comfy will always tell you where you screwed up, so it'll circle the thing. So you just... Oh, you were saying?
Is there a UI similar to Forge UI where that stuff is already built for you and you can just like use it, or?
What UI?
Like FortUI or Automatic 1111 for images. Is there something like that, but for video?
No.
Like specialized on video?
It's
Oh.
too there's just too many options. Yeah, see?
Hmm.
So now we've separated the subject from the background. So where it's white, IP adapter will be affecting the image. So for this one, where it's white, the person, it'll be a cat. And for this one, where it's white, the background, it'll be breakfast.
Okay, cool.
But because we're using ControlNet here, it's still going to give us the room behind them. It's just going to style the room like breakfast.
I see. Right, it makes sense.
So we can use this mask to tell it to just do a depth map on the person and forget what the room looks like, which is often better than trying to, keep the room in there. Unless you love the composition of the room and you just want to affect it, these are all decisions you just make as you go on. But to do the what I'm talking about, all we have to do is take this depth map here, add a image composite masked node.
Right.
And this node will let us put something on something based on it, like with a mask. So in this case, our destination is going to be a black frame. So we'll get image blank. Our width and height is going to come from our, our actual canvas size. And we're going to go red, green, blue, 0, 0, 0. So this is going to make a black frame. And we're going to have to add one more thing called a batch repeat image batch.
Huh.
Repeat image batch. And then this will plug our frame count into. And this will repeat this black frame as long as our video is. And this will become the destination of our video. The source will be our depth map. And the mask will be the person from our by RefNet node. So the final result of this will be our depth map of the person on a black background. So we'll get rid of this background. So yeah, we have our cat, and there should be some breakfast stuff in the background. So now we're separating the subjects.
And it's so the ControlNet is not at all applied to the background, or as just black.
So you'll see now with this one, if I plug this into our ControlNet image. So we're no longer using this one anymore. So I'm going to leave it here just so we can see it. But it's we're no longer using this. We're using this one here as our footage. So when I run this again, now hold on, I have to add. There's one more button, resize. Again, there we go. So now we've removed the background from our depth map. So ControlNet no longer knows what the room looks like. So it's just going to make random breakfast stuff in the background.
And that is not a problem for a ControlNet, because I had the impression when I used unicolor parts in the depth map for image generation, it goes crazy because it's just not understanding the depth in there. No problem with that?
Nope.
Interesting.
Or you could use a different background. You could
yes,
generate a depth map of a different room. You could do whatever you like. This is the beauty. You get full control, right?
Right. Yeah.
This went so fast. Not sure how I could recreate this workflows. I have slower versions of these videos. If you look up Purz, ComfyUI first steps and second steps, beginner first steps, beginner second steps. Beginner first steps is how to make videos. Beginner second steps covers all this stuff, and you can go back and forward in them. Learn how to use Animate Diff. We're just doing it quickly because this is a Hangout live stream. But,
yes.
Yeah, if you want to go deeper, just hit up my channel and go to the live videos, and you'll see them there. Yeah, I have a full guide on how to do this stuff. Like this, but a little slower. Yeah, see, now it's a lot more abstract, although it's less breakfast and more clouds for some reason.
Interesting, yeah.
And so more control over this stuff is possible if you start using more control nets, line art, all the other stuff. So line art will help you with the edges. Soft edge will help you with the edges. Yeah, we just keep stacking control nets.
Right.
But yeah, this is the basic idea. If you want to increase the length, you just increase the frame count. You want to increase the width and height, do that too. So these are small animations and they look okay, but if we want them to look better, we need to increase the resolution, so we can do that.
Yeah.
So let's do 910 by 512. I'll keep it the same length. And because we're using ControlNet, it actually gets rid of a lot of the problems with SD15 when you go over the size. You know how like with SD15, when you go outside the bounds of 512 by 512, you can get double subjects and weird stuff like that. By exerting control with ControlNet, you're telling it exactly, and IP adapter, you're telling it exactly where you want to put the stuff. So it mitigates a lot of those problems. But if you're going just straight abstract, like we were doing before without the masking control,
how well does upscaling work for this? To add details and make it like nicer.
Well, so you can, but upscaling, all it does is it blurs and then sharpens. That's all upscaling ever does. You need to dream in new detail. You need to do another animate diff run at a higher res with like a tiled
you
K-sampler.
couldn't like with the ultimate upscaler like upscale each frame and then combine it.
No, you can. The problem is, no, you wouldn't want to do that because you would lose all temporal consistency.
Okay. Right.
But if you use SD Ultimate Upscaler or Phil's tiled K-sampler, you can do animate diff in tiles. So you can literally start at like 2K or it'll take way longer.
Right.
But the nice part is upscaling with tiled K-sampler and stuff. You can actually upscale at like 4 steps per tile, because you're using so much of the input footage that you only need to dream in just a little bit more. So this will take longer because we're at basically double the res, but as you can see, it's starting to look better and better.
I think we can make the video shorter also. It doesn't have to be 120 frames. If we see the result with 64. There we go.
Now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. One thing I never understood is like when they say upscale and they say 2 times. I never understood why it's called 2 times when the resolution is up by 4 times actually.
Well, no. So there's different models. There's 2 times models and 4 times models. The 2 times models are designed to upscale things twice. The 4 times models are designed to upscale things 4 times. That is the base model magnification.
No, but what I mean is like if it says like times 2, it goes from 512 to 1024, which is actually 4 times the resolution, not 2 times the resolution, because you like
only when you're thinking in pixel space.
Yeah,
but 2x, but the moniker 2x 4x is just straight resolution, just like yes, it is 4 times bigger. It is twice that, but that's just a math problem.
Right. Yeah.
Conceptually, you're doubling or quadrupling the resolution, the pixel amount of pixel, the number of.
Okay. I see.
Have you tried LTX video model? Yeah, LTX is cool. It's very fast. It's not as good as Cog or Mochi, but it looks cool. Very fast. LTX Light Tricks is very fast.
A detailed 8K 5-minute render, you have to have the Pentagon super server for that.
Yeah, you wouldn't do that with it. You would learn how to use traditional tools like Blender, Houdini, all that stuff.
Yeah, you better buy 20 Mac Minis and connect them.
Even then, like,
right? Yeah, we're not there yet.
We're not in 8K land.
Right. Square, not a line. Yeah, but that's what I mean, because it's a square. Right. Let me check this. Maybe I'm stupid. Let me see. Wait, what is it? Oh, yeah. $1 million. Okay. Yeah, but that's what I say. So if you have, what do you say? 1 second, it's square, not line. If you have 512 times 512, it's 262,000 something. And if you have 1024 by 1024, it's 1 million, which is 4 times as much, not 2 times as much. So that's what I mean by if you have latent, upscale latent by 2, it gives you actually like 4 times the thing, because you make it 2x on both sides, which is 4.
Yeah,
but anyways, it doesn't matter.
You're just getting hung up on the math. Like,
yeah, totally.
It's just for simplicity's sake. Like 2x, right, yes. I want to go from 512 by 512 to 1024. 2x, it's just the resolution.
Right. Yeah. There's just like some things that always kind of like I get stuck in my head. Like, for example, with filming, there is this like 180-degree rule, and I always like, I don't know, I'm getting mad when I hear that. Because the only thing, like, why is it called 180-degree rule when you just double the exposure time to the frame rate? Just call it the 2 times rule. Much easier. Where's the 180-degree coming from? I don't understand that. Some stuff is just from the naming, it's just stupid. But anyways, doesn't matter. That's more my brain than the rest of the world, I guess. So, all right, I mean, let's look at
this can just keep getting more and more complex as you add more things. But I think that's a basic overview of Animate Diff.
Totally, looks amazing.
So yeah, and if you want to get deeper and you want to do stuff like JBoog does, JBoog's workflow is on Civitai. I would suggest go getting JBoog's workflow, installing it, and then learning how that, because he goes deeper and deeper into IP adapters, thicker and better stuff, and all that. He's got a video on that. If you're into video to video and you want to make dancers turn into stuff, that's the way to go.
Right.
So let's try the custom motion LoRA. Let's get rid of all stuff.
Sounds good. Perfect.
We don't need this anymore. We don't need this.
I feel like ComfyUI could use a tool that kind of records not the building process, but how everything goes into each other, so you can kind of like watch that animation when you open it up. Like, for example, Lightroom has that for the community presets. You can watch a little video of what all the settings they change, so you know which of them are actually changing. Because when you open up these like huge workflows, no idea what's going on. It's so complex. To figure that out takes forever, So sometimes it would be good to see, oh, this is supposed to be there because of that or something,
So this, I'll just try and see if I can pull this out. Man dancing. So this motion LoRA is trained on just a dancer going like wiggling. So if I increase the strength of the motion LoRA to like 100%, it should give me back the footage I trained into it. So we can start from there, so you can see the sort of the full result, and then we can back it off a bit, so you can.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a lot of my custom motion LoRAs are not available. They're just because I feel it's one way to really control your uniqueness in this is by training your own models, training your own stuff, and then keeping that stuff, for yourself. The point is, like if I want it to look like my video, I can train a bunch of stuff, and then only I can make those videos. So that's definitely a way of controlling, your uniqueness in this AI scene where everyone can just make everything everybody else makes. But if it's really cool and I think the community can use it, then we just release it and let the community do its thing. But yeah, if you're going to be training your own motion LoRAs, you may want to keep them close to your chest and use them until you're bored with it, and then release it to the community.
Right. Yeah.
It's up to you.
Yeah.
So yeah, like this wiggle dance motion LoRa will basically always make this guy kind of do this like little wiggly dance.
All right.
There we go. See?
Oh.
So that's
Okay.
what the input footage looked like this basically. So then when you start to back this off, like 500 or 50%.
Do you do the input dances for that?
It's actually from that video I was showing before. The dancer. Yeah.
All right. That is awesome. So this is no ControlNet, nothing. It's just a prompt and the motion LoRa.
Yeah, and because I had the motion LoRa so strong, it's essentially returning the motion LoRa back out. So now I've backed it off quite a bit. So
is that also why you see the alleyway in the background?
Oh no, I prompted that man dancing in an alley.
Okay. Yeah,
like you could say, like a bird dancing in the jungle.
Oh yes. Okay, let's see that. Interesting. And you can. There's no way to make that longer than 16 frames. The LoRa.
So there is a 32 frame extension LoRa by CSETI, but it's trained on about 70 clips, and it's only really good at certain things. So because the base model of Animate Diff is trained at 16 frames, we're locked there. That's just the way it is. To train an Animate Diff motion model takes an incredible amount of GPU power. So that's why like the community isn't training them, because it would take like $1 million.
Right. And could you train, like split up a video in 4 parts, train 4 motion LoRas, and then switch in the process at step 16 to the second motion LoRa? Would that work?
No.
Oh, really? That doesn't work?
You can stack them, but it mixes them because of the nature of Animate Diff. You cannot keyframe sequence stuff in Animate.
Really? So there's nothing like ControlNet where you say this amount of video and then not use it anymore.
No, that's how you would do it with ControlNet. You would make the input footage do what you want it to do, and then use that as the driver. Yeah. ControlNet is the only way to get sort of frame by frame control of.
Oh, it's still a guide.
Yeah,
is it finished?
So this is with less strength. You notice it did not return the input footage. But it is the guys doing basically the same thing. So if you were to just increase the length, you get more and more stuff.
So how do we get it to be a bird, like in the prompt?
I'm running that now.
Oh, okay.
There isn't a way to use different images as input and connect them with the video. I'm not sure what you mean.
Well, with ControlNet there is, but not with the LoRa, right?
I'm just not sure what you mean exactly by that.
Yeah.
Ziggy to elaborate a bit.
There's an S6L version. And the S6L version, you said it doesn't work so well.
The SDXL version is actually an 8-frame context window. So it's half the length. It sucks.
Oh. Because Triple Head Monkey said it's like 32 to 64, but maybe he's wrong about that.
I mean, you can make as many frames as you want, but trust me, the SDXL motion LoRas or SDXL animate diff models are not good.
Okay.
It's not a bird, but it's in the forest. It's because my motion LoRa is so strong.
I see.
Yeah, they're in the forest and they're doing the wiggle dance. So yeah, if you like, we could do like I have a bunch of. Let's try mosh pit is a bunch of people running around in a circle.
All right.
People dancing in a room. And this should be like a whole bunch of people running around.
So with the motion LoRa, it's kind of like difficult to get away from the subject in the input.
Well, I have it up over 50%. So yes, like I said, over 50%, you're basically returning the input footage, and I'm doing that so you can see what the motion LoRa is doing.
All right.
If you start backing it off, you're just adding it a little bit.
And so at what point or at what situation would you use a motion LoRa, and at what situation would you use a ControlNet input?
ControlNet when you're trying to do video to video. You're trying to achieve a specific result. Motion LoRa is when you're just trying to explore the latent space.
Okay.
But
if you would use that video as an input, would it give you the same output as this motion LoRa right now, or something different?
What video?
The video that you used to train that motion LoRa with the wiggle dance.
Oh, well, I mean, if you use the input video, you'll get the input. You'll get the video and the output.
Yeah, but if you have like a lower ControlNet setting.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to play with it. Yeah, like that's why we have strength and start and end percent. You can literally control every aspect of it.
That looks wild.
But yeah, you just have to play with it. It's too much of a rabbit hole to have any sort of answer for you. Like, there's no best practices. You just
yeah. No, I just thought maybe there is some kind of like use case of where you say, in that case, you would prefer this and stuff like kind of like thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it all depends on how much like your input footage you want it to be, or if you just want to like dream wildly. So let's set the strike to 0.4, and we'll put people running in a marathon. And while this one runs, I'm gonna go blow my nose because I can.
Oh, that's from a marathon. Oh, interesting.
No, it's actually from people running around in a circle in a room.
Oh, but yeah, I'll be kind of like dance? Is it Jewish or Muslim dance? I don't know. There's this famous video.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the input footage I used. Yeah, where the people are dancing around in the circle.
Right.
Sorry, I'm gonna go blow my nose. I'll be right back.
Yeah, sure. Interesting. That's amazing. Pretty wild stuff, huh? With these LoRa's. And also with the ControlNet, of course. It's pretty cool. Right. I didn't think that this would be 1.5, to be honest. I thought it's like on higher models, because the stuff he does has some really cool like quality and visual, like, is very impressive. So it's interesting that he uses 1.5 for that. And I'm also very surprised that like nobody cares about like upgrading the newer models to get more detail and stuff. But maybe it also would be so hardware hungry to do anything like that with Flux that it would just like nobody uses it or something like that. I don't know. Because as you can see, like it's pretty intense even with the short videos. And he has a 4090, by the way. I have a 4080, so for me it would be a little bit slower if I can actually do it, because he said like you have to have at least 16 gigabyte RAM to do it in a good time. So I don't know.
So because the motion LoRa is lower strength now, it's like it's just absolutely making crazy stuff. But you still people running, you know.
Right. Pretty cool.
Excuse me, but if I turn that up, we'll get more like the input footage. And yeah, you can keep stacking these motion LoRa's as well, and it'll mix the motions together, which is really cool.
Do DJs and stuff ask you for that? Because I can remember when I was a student, we played like all kinds of crazy old videos and stuff in the background for DJing, and this is like even more wild.
Yeah. Pixel Pusher, friend of mine, fantastic artist. He does a lot of visuals for giant dubstep artists and stuff like that.
Right.
And you know, a lot of his stuff is more like just animate diff, like just beautiful stuff, and then they clean it up and use it on the screen. But yeah, I mean, it all depends on what the artist wants. And if you are an artist, this is a great way to generate all kinds of background footage.
By the way, how is it about you? Because for me, it's like I experiment a lot with AI, but I don't actually have something artistically I want to show or express or create a work with it. I just like to like fiddle around with the stuff. You know, is it like that for you, or do you actually create artistic like output where you say, "Oh, this is my new series of I don't know, this and that"?
No, I've been an artist a lot longer than I've been an AI artist, so. This is just another tool for me to make conceptual work with. So yeah, absolutely.
So you do like actual finished works with that?
Oh yeah, I've been a visual artist and motion graphics and all that stuff. I sell NFTs, do NFT collections. I've got I'm internationally exhibited. I do a lot of lot of stuff. Yeah.
Is that on your channel? Your like artworks or?
Well, I'm mostly on Twitter.
Oh,
and on the
okay.
blockchain
Right.
in real life. In real life.
I see. Interesting. Okay, cool.
I just had a show in Rome a few months ago, 360-degree projection in a giant gallery space
I saw that,
of a
yes.
15-minute video. Yeah, I was
I didn't
using
know
all
that
my
that was
custom
your
motion
work. I
LoRa's.
thought you did that for an artist.
Oh no, that's all me.
Cool. Interesting.
Yeah, no, this is the thing. Like, this is a great way to make footage and then do stuff with that footage. The exploration state is fun, but it's weaving a narrative and actually making some art out of it is the end goal, in my opinion.
Right.
More than just generating a constant tech demos, which that's cool too, and it works and it's fine. But I don't know. At the end of the day, it's nice to actually create something, right?
Right. So how can you talk about like how do you approach it artistically? Is it for me? Is it for you more like a visual artistic expression, or do you have like a concept behind that, or what's your process of like doing art?
Yeah, it all depends on how I come about it. Sometimes I'll have an idea first, and then we go from idea to end result. But a lot of what I do is experimentation until I find something I like, and then I'll dive into that and then weave a narrative out of the stuff that I've been making, and then start making stuff based on that narrative. So it all feeds into itself, really. All this tech demo stuff, all the testing, you should be trying to find things that you love and then dive deeper into those rabbit holes and make stuff. But that's how I like to do it. There's no rules, right? If you just want to make crazy stuff and release crazy stuff, that's totally cool too.
And do you like express something about the world with your art? Like, is often like if you read these art texts, oh, he's like breaking with the traditional view of this and reinventing that kind of process and guiding you through this towards this like new vision of how to understand things. Is that like what your work does, or is it more a process work where, how can I say, you kind of transcend by looking at it, but there is not really a concept where you can talk about that in an interview or something. It's more like the work itself is the work.
It completely depends on the nature of the collection I'm working on at the time. So, like for Writhing Bodies, the thing in the 360, I was trying to reimagine the way we look at humans by looking at humans through computer vision.
Okay.
So, like, yeah, I mean, it can get esoteric and arty and all that stuff, but it really depends on what you're trying to what you're trying to get across with your work. So that's a very personal decision on everyone's part. Some people might just want to make things dance and have a good time, and that's just as valid as somebody who's trying to make some statement about the world. In my opinion, like, I think all art is valid, and I don't put anything on a pedestal in the sense of like,
I see.
Some people are much better at explaining their art. You know what I mean? Like, some people are really good at like weaving that narrative and making it sound like it's a lot more heady than it is. So it just depends on your approach. But I think that the art is going to resonate with you. So like, if you see something you like, the story doesn't really matter unless it takes and recontextualizes what you're looking at and helps you understand something from the artist's point of view. So
I see.
I don't know. It's all soup.
Right. Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, and those are motion LoRa's. I think
cool.
I don't know what else there is in Animate Diff to cover, really. Yeah, you can just combine all of these methods into different things.
Yeah,
and work with it.
Looks really amazing.
And,
how? By the way, like, first of all, like, how do you train the motion LoRa, and then how long does it take to train the motion LoRa?
There's a workflow and a node pack for training the motion LoRa's, and on my 3090, it takes about 40 minutes, I think, to do a motion LoRa training.
4090, right? Not 3090.
I have a 3090, yeah. On the 4090, it takes about 20 minutes.
Oh, okay.
About half the time.
Wait, I thought you have a 4090.
No, I have a 3090.
Oh, okay. But then the rendering was pretty quick.
Yeah, no, it's like at this res, right? It's not that bad. When you start cranking up the res, it can get crazy, but 96 frames at 576 by 320 is totally reasonable.
Right.
On a 4090, it's even faster. You know, on a 4090, it's
totally
twice as fast. You can rent 4090s in the cloud and stuff like that. So that's what I mean by I do all the iteration here, and then when I'm happy and I want to do a bunch of runs, I'll rent a 4090 and batch up like 100 runs, and then go download that folder and go through it and find out what I like.
Interesting.
And because you have the runs, you have the settings, you just grab the ones you like, drag them back into Comfy, and start from where you were.
Mm-hmm.
That's my favorite thing about Comfy, is that the workflows are all built into the files. So when you have a result you like, you can just drag it right back into Comfy and start where you left off, right? It's awesome.
Is that also with videos? You can drag a video in there and that has a workflow? Really? I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
That's this save metadata. That's what this true false does. It saves the JSON into the end of the file, so that when you drag it into Comfy, it just works.
Okay.
But one thing that won't work,
it only works with PNG, right?
That's
or
right.
Also with JPEG.
It might work with JPEGs. I'm not sure. But the one thing to remember with that is Discord strips out metadata. So if you just try to download somebody's video out of a channel or something, it won't have the workflow attached. But if they DM'd you that video, it does not wipe the metadata. So if I send you a video in our chat or whatever, you can load the workflow out of that video by just downloading it and dragging it into Comfy.
Right.
Yeah, see, that's at 100%. This is basically the input footage.
There we go. Yeah, right.
Yeah, so backing it off will,
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Very nice.
And the other thing is you can make this stuff and then take it into Runway and do video to video with Runway and style transfer and like that's the beauty of these tools, is they're all completely modular. You just you carve your own path and decide what you want to do. Like Animate Diff is crazy and there's a lot of stuff going on. And if you don't want to deal with it, go use a service, And some of the services have wrapped the Animate Diff workflow, like Korea and a few of the other ones. Like they're just using Comfy as a backend and they've simplified the interface and stuff. But yeah, if you're trying to spin up a service, you have to be careful because Comfy has a GPL license, which means anything you deploy on the internet, you have to open source your deployment code to comply legally. And unfortunately, a lot of the sites that use Comfy don't do that. So your mileage may vary.
Right.
Think of something else. Phil, do I have Phil's case sample? FL plus, yeah. So Phil has this cool upscaling case sampler. So you can take what you've made and tile it and upscale it again with this, and it works a lot like a Ultimate STS upscale. But the beautiful part about it is it uses Phil's upscale model loader, and this quantizes the upscale, like the models, so that your upscaling process takes way less time. The trying to do the upscale part of the SD Ultimate workflow, if you've ever done it, it takes forever to upscale the image. And then when you do video, it takes even more forever because that's 96 images, right?
Right.
But this, if you set this to 16-bit precision, and then you pick an upscale model, like I don't know, let's do 4x ultra sharp. I'm gonna downscale by this one's a tough one to math out because 4x means it's going to upscale it 4 times. So we're going to go from 576 or whatever to 4 times that. But downscale, then we're downscaling that final result. So let's go like 0.5. So it's going to 4 times it and then half that. So it'll double the resolution.
Right.
Math. So our image will come from here. This image will go into here. So we've upscaling our output from here into this.
Also, the
And
first one
okay.
is just upscale by model without the using the model for upscaling. And then you
For
put it in
this,
something that is like a upscaler that's using actually sampling.
yeah, like we're upscaling the
Ah.
initial images and then we're dreaming over them again
Right.
to clean them up. So just
And
plug
why do
everything
you do the
in.
upscaling first with the model?
If you don't upscale the images, they'll look crappy when they come out because they're not upscaled at all. Like this is how we tell it to upscale by 2 times.
Oh, and this K-Sampler Plus, it doesn't do upscaling. It only renders it again in that resolution.
In whatever resolution you're feeding it.
Oh, so it's kind of like ultimate upscale without the upscale.
No,
Okay.
it does do the upscale. No, it does do the upscale.
Up there with just the model.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's how ultimate upscale works as well. But it doesn't have the quantization stuff to make it.
And quantization is what?
Taking the model and taking the upscale model and making it use less memory and use less time. You're basically like it's like a way of compressing the model into a smaller version of itself that runs much faster.
Interesting. Okay. Interesting.
Size of 50, 4 steps, CFG. We'll just make sure all these settings are the same as our other upscaler. Denoise. About 0.2, I think. Trying to remember these settings off the top of my head.
Right.
So the X and Y slices, this is the tiles. So we're gonna do 2 tiles on the sides and 1 tile tie because it's a it's a wide image.
Right.
And then overlap. I think the overlap's right. I think we can increase the batch. Forget how that works. We'll see. It'll fail or it'll work. And let's then model image, and then we need another one of these for the.
Batch 50 doesn't mean it upscales it 50 times?
No. The batches for the internal batching of the.
So
basically,
what
you
does
just
it
set
do?
that number as high as VRAM you have, so it'll try to do multiple images at the same time instead of.
Okay.
It's for the upscaling section, really.
So it does 50 upscales at the same time right now.
Well,
tries.
It processes 50. It just makes it faster. Basically, increase this number until you run out of VRAM.
Okay. Interesting.
It has nothing to do with the batch size of the animation. It's like the batch of the upscaling process. It's hard to describe.
It's kind of like with the training, where you have the training, how many images it trains at the same time, right?
Kind of. It's more for this, the upscaling. Like this is gonna upscale 50 images at once instead of 1 image at a time.
Okay.
And then we're just matching that batch in the upscaler. That's all. It has nothing to do with the frames themselves, or it's just when it does this, it's computationally better to do a high batch in the upscaling. It just takes less time to do more images.
Okay, interesting. Sounds good.
Best suggested hardware, giving performance versus cost. As much as you can afford. The best is as high as you can afford. If you can't afford a 4090, it's not the best answer for you, right?
Right.
Like me, I can't. I'm waiting for the 5090 because to me the 4090 feels like not as much of an upgrade. Like considering the cost, it might as well just wait for the 5090.
Did the stream drop? What?
On mine, it's just on my YouTube.
It's not receiving enough data, it says. I don't know why I have that problem. I have a super fast upstream.
Are you on Wi-Fi or Ethernet?
I should be on Ethernet because I'm on my main computer right now. It's really strange. I don't understand that.
Oh, I forgot the. Whoops.
Oh, yeah. Like OBS says, the upstream right now is 3,000 kilobytes, 2,500 kilobytes. I don't get that. I set it to 18. My upload
Well,
should
I
be.
think you're I think you're just having an internet problem right now.
Maybe, yeah. I need to call the company. It's really. Life has ended? Shit. Really?
It's still working here. It's just it keeps buffering.
So strange. Maybe my flatmate is downloading something. I don't know.
Yeah, if there's something going on your internet, that can cause it.
Right. Oh, it now? No? Wait, I'm gonna message him. It looks, right now it's 5,000. It's really strange.
Someone here was saying they want to get two 4070s to equal 24 gigs. That is not how VRAM works, unfortunately. You can't share VRAM between multiple cards. All you could do is 2 tasks that take 12 gigabytes of VRAM each. You cannot take two 4070s and then you suddenly have 24 gigs of VRAM. Yes, you have 24 gigs of VRAM in your computer, but you can only access 12 of them at once. So you would have to run 2 instances of Comfy on each GPU, and you would have 12 gigs allocated to each one. That's kind of the bummer of this stuff. VRAM cannot be pooled, so you have to have it on the card, basically.
All right. Yeah, I hope it goes back to normal. I don't know what that is right now. It's really strange.
Yeah, it might be. Is there anybody in your house using the Wi-Fi?
No, I just wrote my flatmate, and he says he's not downloading anything. So.
I wonder maybe your computer's doing a update somewhere. Maybe
he says peak time. Peak time right now. It's like almost 10 at night. I'm not sure. Maybe a lot of people watching Netflix or something. You know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. Who knows? Oh god.
All right. Looks like the K sampler's working. So. Yeah.
There we go. Oh, it's still upscaling. Wow.
Yeah, I screwed up a couple times, so I had to run it again. So that's another thing is you should, if you're gonna do stuff like this, you should fix the seed. If you screw up and have to run it again, excuse me, it won't run this run again because the seed is the same. It'll just start from here. But yeah, so you can see it's doing the left tile now, and then it'll do the right tile, and at 4 steps, it's really fast for upscaling. Like we're upscaling 96 frames, you know.
Yeah, we're back at just 20,000.
Super cool to be able to do this at 4 steps.
Totally, yes. And it's like because the denoise is so low, right? I'm kind of like surprised that it doesn't automatically do it, because in Forge in Automatic 1111 it automatically calculates the amount of steps on the percentage of the denoise you use. I think ComfyUI should have a similar feature. Would make it a bit easier. No?
Well, I mean, yeah, it might make it easier, but I wouldn't want that. I would want to.
Or maybe have an on-off option for this kind of like automatic adaptation to the denoise.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, it's a philosophy thing with Comfy, right? Comfy is supposed to give you access to all the stuff, and then you decide.
Right.
So like trying to make Comfy more user-friendly, I think is not necessarily the move. I think wrapping a workflow in a more simplistic interface is probably the way to go if you were to try to do that. But the fact that Comfy is designed again to be a Python workflow automation tool, like having access to all the options, I think is better than trying to hide them from the user.
Right.
Because as we know with some of the paid services, you just don't have enough control over the the aspects of the animation because the UI is so simple. it's really just it's a design philosophy thing, I think.
Right. I mean, the services are also like they're built for different purposes. They're just like built for the customers, and the customer wants to have it easy.
Exactly.
So for them,
Comfy is more for when
better.
you want to get into the guts.
Right. Yeah. But
Well,
I
with
feel
that
like
comes all the complexity of getting into the guts.
totally, yeah. I feel like if people want to in the future work with AI, they should go with ComfyUI, so they learn this kind of like process, especially because it's so individualized. Nobody's going to pay you for running Forge, some prompts in Forge, you know. I mean, maybe if you're good at what you're doing, but if you're able to build like complex workflows, you can get a job right now, and also a pretty good paid job on top of that, because it's difficult.
So yeah, as you can see, the upscale looks much better than the original, and you can just keep doing this. You can just keep upscaling, keep pushing.
Right.
You know, we started here, we got here.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's Phil's part of Phil's nodes. The manager, Phil. Yeah, ComfyUI Phil nodes. That's the lots of cool VFX tools in there too for processing your footage. Yeah, it's really fun.
Awesome. Really cool. Does upscaling add more details or just make it a little bit sharper and bigger?
No, it adds more detail as you dream in, and then so if you wanted even more, you would increase the denoise, increase the steps.
Okay.
But this is a good balance here. 4 steps at denoise of 20, overlap of around like 0.2, 0.1. The overlap is the tile overlap, like so where there should be a seam here. Like if you screw this number up, you'll see like a literal line where your tile is. But because we had the settings dialed in nice, you can't even tell.
Right.
There's a tile there, so
very nice.
Pretty sick.
Awesome. Really cool. Okay.
Yeah, and we use the same seed so that if I wanted to make a change here, it's not going to rerun this run. It's just going to take what's from coming out of this latent and run it through the upscaler. So when you have multiple K samplers, you want to use a fixed seed so that you don't keep redoing the first step over and over.
You use the same seed for upscaling as for the generation of the image?
This doesn't matter as long as your first seed is fixed. As long as your this it literally doesn't matter.
But I thought like using like if you use the same seed in different K samplers, it's gonna like look overcooked because it's using the same seed. So using a different seed makes the image nicer from the result.
Sometimes, but not always. With the amount of denoising, there's such little denoising here, it almost doesn't matter.
That's true.
We're literally just fixing the detail.
Right.
If you were trying to dream in a lot more data, then yeah, sure. Changing the seed might help, might not. Seeds are a funny thing. You know, all the seed does is it tells it what the noise is supposed to look like.
Right.
You know, so you're just using the same noise pattern to upscale. So sometimes that can actually be better if you want it to be more consistent.
Interesting. All right, pretty cool.
Yeah.
When you render an image, when you render a video with 128 frames instead of like 64 frames, are in both cases the first 64 frames the same, or does the video get better or worse the longer or shorter it is?
I mean, that would depend on your seed, right? Like.
No, but with the same seed, would you get the same result, or do you get a better video if it's a longer video, or does it degrade and you get a worse video if you get a longer video?
Like no, it doesn't degrade. No, that's the nature of animate diff because you're just jumping context windows over time. So, yeah, the first 64 frames might look the same, but the longer you go, you're just jumping context windows, and you can make 540 frames or something before it starts chonking really hard. So.
This is, by the way, this is one thing I don't understand. Why does it have to be in the VRAM when it's afterwards combining the individual frames in the output? Why can't it like just offload the frames it doesn't need anymore?
Because it does not work frame by frame. It makes an entire video and then it spits out an entire video. That's the nature of animate diff. That's why context windows work. That's why it's not flickery. Like if you remember, Deforum was like looked like a flip book.
Right.
Because it was literally just doing frame, then a frame, then a frame, then a frame, then a frame. This
Right,
doesn't do
right,
that.
right.
It does the whole batch in one go. And that's what
Mm,
causes it to be consistent and clean and smooth. So,
interesting.
you know, the advantages of Animate Diff are also kind of the drawbacks.
Uh-huh.
You know, so like frame by frame is great because you can do much longer animations, but you get that flickering effect because it's not temporally consistent because it's not running, you know.
Interesting. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good.
Yeah. This is
By the
that
way,
whole
should
like
we I think we are done with the building workflows. Should we
mhm,
drag each other a little bit bigger and then we can have a little bit of conversation? I think we have
sure.
another like 20 minutes or something for the stream, so we can like talk a little bit about the process and answer some questions from the chat.
Absolutely.
So we drag each other like a little bit
Yeah,
bigger in the screen
I'll
so
just
that
remove
we
my
kind of like look like a conversation.
remove my display and
There we go.
there we go. Hey.
Spoon. You're the spoon today.
Yeah, you can just resize my window or whatever to make it
Oh, I
fit.
have to move you over. Oh, yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait a second. You have to like make yourself smaller because if I move you over, they see my background, so it doesn't work like that. Make yourself a little bit smaller so you're kind of like the same size next to me.
I actually
There
I
we
can't
go.
see your
That's better.
I can't see your stream
You can
anymore.
sit on my shoulder.
I think maybe the YouTube is
There we go.
we've lost you on YouTube.
Okay. Right. Interesting. It's a very cool
Yeah.
process. It's not as complex as it's kind of like it would seem with video, because you think like video would be like that huge monstrosity, but actually it's pretty straightforward from
Yeah,
the
it starts
process.
really simple and then it gets more complex. You know, it gets as complex as you want it to be, essentially.
Right.
And like, you know, I have workflows that are even more insane. We're slipping out like splitting masks into multiple colors and then splitting those colors into multiple masks and you know,
Ah, right.
making
Yeah.
shaders in Blender and then using those masks to drive context and stuff like that. Like
Uh-huh.
I prefer Animate Diff for that more abstract kind of vibe than like straight video to video, but there are artists like Jay Boog just doing incredible stuff with video to video. So it all depends on what you want to do.
Right. By the way, can you make yourself a bit bigger? It kind of looks strange when you're so small compared to me.
I mean, I can't.
That's good. And then like move yourself a little bit to the side, to the edge of the screen. Other side, other side. There we go. A little bit to the middle again. There we go. Perfect. Good.
All right.
I think that's good.
I think
All
your
right.
stream is down though on YouTube.
My stream is down?
Yeah,
Huh.
it's just a spinning. It's just a spinning wheel for me, unfortunately.
Ah, yeah. It's kind of like now it's back at 7,000. Have to call the company. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
It's still on, but
that
it's
sucks.
kind of like, yeah, shit. All right. Well, we can also end it here. I think we went through a lot. So it's yeah, before the head explodes from the audience, I guess.
Yeah, man.
We captured a lot of stuff today. So that was
Yeah,
pretty nice.
absolutely.
Thank you very much for being a guest.
Of course.
And it
super
was
fun.
really amazing, everything you showed.
It's pretty cool. And yeah, like
Right.
there's a bunch of workflows on Civitai and Banadoko for like exploring sort of the base concepts of this stuff, and then you can start putting together all the different things you want to.
Right. What is Banadoko, by the way? I just understood it's like this kind of activist group in LA for AI, or not?
Activist group? No.
No, not activists, but they kind of like the guy founded this group as a society to bring like make AI more interesting to the society or stuff like that. It was kind of a social approach, right?
It's just it's a community server where all the ComfyUI community works together to figure this stuff out. All the
But it's
developers are in
also like
there.
a kind of not a startup, but he has like the founder of Bonadoko. Didn't he have like giving out shares to people or stuff like that?
Yeah, I think he's trying to figure out exactly what it is, but for most of us, it's just a Discord where you hang out and share workflows with people, and you know,
Right.
we're all there to teach each other what we've learned, because you know, with this stuff like it's like you can't do it all yourself. You kind of almost have to crowdsource
Right.
learning all this stuff, and we can all just teach each other what we've learned, and sort of a hub for doing that.
Right.
And
I
like all the
see.
workflows are on there. They're also on Civit. They're a million places. It all depends where you want to go. But if you want to watch active development in the community, you want to see what the developers are doing in real time.
Uh-huh.
You know, that Bandadoko's a great place because they're all
I
there
think I should
working on the
rotate a little
stuff.
bit so I don't speak to the. It looks like I'm speaking forward and you speak to the side, so I think this might be better. All right. Interesting. Uh, do you like with the workflows? Do you do a lot of like combination where you run through different processes, like I said before, with different colors? So, like for example, layers of different things that happen. So you render the background differently from the foreground and then combine it afterwards, stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, my last stream with ACATS on Thursday, he talks about that a lot. Because he's using SAM2, which is Meta's segment anything system, and you can say like, I want the person, and then I want maybe the drum they're playing as a separate layer, and I want the background as a separate layer. So you can actually prompt that stuff with SAM2 and Florence, and then make masks based on what it sees in the. Yeah, you can go do all kinds of stuff.
Interesting. The guy from Civet AI who does the streams, is he called Tyler, I think, or something like that?
Yeah, that's
He's
Jbook. Yeah, he's my next
right.
guest.
He's pretty skilled with that stuff. He did some
Yeah.
animations for some pretty big names, right? Was it
Oh yeah,
Rihanna
yeah.
or some of these kind of one singer?
Amaya, I believe he did the Coachella for I forget how to say the name. Amaya or something like that.
Yeah,
He
Coachella
did
too,
one.
but also a music video for like a famous American singer. I'm not sure what the name was.
Possibly, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, no,
Right.
Boog's great. He's and he teaches on Civit too. If you want to learn this stuff, there's a bunch of streams of him showing how his workflow works and stuff like that and breaking that down. So if you want to learn how to make videos like him, that's all on Civitai.
Right.
And I've been a guest on there too. That's a great stream as well. The Civitai weekly live streams. I think they're on Thursdays or Fridays. It's awesome. Super awesome. A lot of community guests showing off their workflows as well. You want to learn how, certain people are doing their thing. Often they'll teach you right on Civit.
Right. It's really interesting. We're kind of like in this golden age where everybody like shows everything they do with AI. It's pretty cool. Like,
yeah, it's awesome.
Really use it, enjoy it as long as it goes. I think in a couple of years, everything will happen behind closed doors mostly when the money comes in. When the bubble bursts and then the money comes in, let's see. But I think then people are less willing to show.
A model like Runway, it costs a lot of money. So obviously they want to protect their intellectual property. So I can't teach you how to train a Runway model. I can't teach you how to do that because that's their thing that they spent money on and they're protecting with their IP. So
yeah, totally.
All we can do is build our own tools as a community and teach each other how to use them. So all we can like to prevent that, all we have to do is keep sharing information with each other.
Right. That's true. What does the chat say? Tori? What? Thanks for Tori. That's a card I have coming. Oh, okay. Right. If there are any questions from the viewers, put them in the chat so we can answer that while we're still online. Yeah, pretty cool. How, by the way, when you do art with AI, how does the art community react to that? Are they upset or they embrace it or?
It was really bad when I first started. A lot of death threats.
Death threats? Holy shit.
I lost a lot of friends. I come from the 3D world. As soon as I embraced AI, a lot of people blocked me.
Really? Wow. Okay.
But, it's changing as these tools become more prominent and as people start to see the benefit of workflow augmentation as opposed to trying to replace humans. I think things will get better. I think there's a major backlash with artists thinking that these tools are designed to get rid of them. But
Right.
I think a true artist or someone who is creative and curious
Hmm.
can see the potential of these tools to empower you to do even more awesome stuff. So yeah, it's a philosophy, I think, and if you're afraid of it, and if you're thinking of it as a replacement, um, that can hurt you in the future, because not staying abreast of changes and not being able to move with the times is
Right, of course.
one of the fastest ways to become irrelevant, right?
Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah, totally. It's really interesting. And I mean, we always had this. It's kind of surprising that it's like, I mean, it's a big shift. And I guess it has been the same kind of critique with other big shifts with computer and with 3D animation and with digital video, where these like big directors all like, I will never use a digital camera.
Yeah.
Analog is the king. And now everybody's doing like billion-dollar movies with all kinds of 3D effects
Oh yeah.
and digital video, you
Photoshop,
know? Yeah.
Autotune. I've been through this. Been through
Right,
this
right.
a million times in my life. It's like,
Everything is
I'll
a green
never use
screen now.
Autotune, and Autotune is on every record you've
Right.
heard in the last 30 years, right?
Yeah,
You might not hear it, but it's there. It's there fixing the vocals, right?
right, right, right.
Like a lot of these tools used, the way they're intended to be used, become invisible.
Yes.
It's only when you're bad at using them, or you're using them for the effect, when you actually see these tools. So
Right, right.
it's as much as you want it to be. Like, that's what I mean about augmentation and workflow, just empowering yourself to make better content.
By the way, with you as as an artist, like, do you feel like with AI you have to let go a lot more with control, because AI is like basically creating the video for you? You are involved in the process, but you don't have like precise control over the elements, and so it's kind of like, let's say before you film like a dance performance with your video camera, it's exactly what you film, but now you can make a motion LoRA, but it's going to be whatever, like similar to what you imagine maybe, but there's a lot of elements you can't control precisely. So is the artistic process different? Because for me, just to explain that, if I look more from the image world, if I look at images, the classic process, of course, is like you draw it or you come up with the details, and doing the process, basically the work grows over time. But you can also a lot of the artistic work is to exactly define what is the shape of the nose, what is the like glint in the eye, what is the like, where do the hairs go, how do the hairs flow, stuff like that. And that is like the artistic expression is through like a cook. You combine all these elements to make it like the artistic expression. But with AI, you can have some control, but the rest is just coming from AI. So you kind of have to rethink the process of how you do it. It's not about the details. It's more about the, I don't know, the process or whatnot. How does it work for you?
Well, for me, like with Comfy, I can exert exactly as much control as I want to. I can start where I want to start, can do what I want to do. I think the important thing is just knowing that when you're working with AI, you are collaborating with another artist. That artist is a computer, but you're in a collaborative process now. You are not, you might be the director, but you're still directing an actor or something on how to work. So you can't think of it as like the same as like Blender or Photoshop or whatever, where you're intentionally exactly creating what you want to create. You are now collaborating with this Hydra multi-headed, like I've seen people describe AI as like this multi-headed alien snake with a little happy human face mask on it. You know what I mean? Like that's sort of what you're collaborating with, right? This thing that it's almost alien, but it's also trained on our knowledge, our our human experience. So yeah, it's a collaboration, and if you can decide exactly how much the AI is contributing versus how much you're contributing. You can control how much you control. So it's a philosophy change, and yes, it is a collaboration. At the end of the day, it's you're no longer the prime creator anymore. You're working
right. Yeah. So it's
as long as you understand that, and you're willing to submit to that and sort of work together, I think you can make even better stuff than you could by yourself. But
Right.
if you let the AI do too much, then yeah, maybe you're not part of it anymore.
Right. That's true.
So,
Interesting.
yeah, it all depends on your personal approach, how much you want to do it. Yeah, like just text prompting these closed source models is probably the least control-y, the most collaborative thing. That's you're basically just plumbing the latent space and pulling stuff out and slapping it together.
It's lottery of AI.
Yeah, and that is absolutely a process. People have done that for years. Just diving in a synth, finding a sound they like, recording that sound. Nothing wrong with that process, but you just have to be aware that the AI is doing all the heavy lifting. Right? You're just curating the results.
I think most people don't know or don't realize how many of the like big sounds from the big musicians are just presets that they play in a certain way. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
Sampling is an art form. Knowing how to
No, I don't mean sampling. They just buy a synthesizer and never turn any knob. They just like use the preset and use the exact same sound.
That's it.
Sometimes even like the melody that's in there and just use it for their song, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, big songs are sometimes built on that.
Like, even as a musician, it doesn't even matter because that synth that you bought, that's an inspiration machine.
Right.
If that inspires you to make a song, even if you use a preset, to me, it's exactly the same as sound diving and making the sounds yourself. Like, it's just a different way of approaching things. I don't put any I'm always I think the technical. It's interesting and cool to see technical craft and people sound designing, but I don't think that designing your own sounds makes something inherently better than someone who just used a preset, because if the song is good, the song is good.
True, you know yes, totally. Yeah. By the way, for you, from your perspective with AI in video, if you think like the historic example between like the theater and film, where in the theater you sit on one place and see always the same perspective, and film you can go very close, very far, go with the actor, all that kind of stuff. It completely changed the narrative and the perspective you can have yourself. So that was a huge shift on how to tell a story. How do you feel like AI, because of this kind of strangeness, is changing how we can tell a story or how we can create an image or stuff like that?
It's just it's putting tools in the hands of people that wouldn't have otherwise been able to access those tools. So I think we have yet to see where we can go with this. Right now we're busy trying to replicate traditional methods, and I don't know if that's the answer. I think just diving into
you do a lot of experimentation in like pushing it into a new dimension with this kind of like with the motion LoRas and stuff, which create videos you couldn't create any other way. So do you see any kind of like, other than the weirdness, a kind of like new form of expression, or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like with IP adapter masking specifically with my shaders and stuff, where you're actually painting with context instead of it's a different, a more esoteric way of creating. It's abstract and not abstract. It's to me that's the exciting part, is literally inventing new ways to express human thoughts and emotions. Like,
can you explain painting with context a bit more?
Yeah, let me pull up a.
What's the chat say? Oh, okay.
Like I guess I could just pull it up.
Oh.
On here. Yeah, where has me a million times. Instagram. Like this.
Oh, you're a little bit in the front of it?
Oh, I'm in the way. Yeah, let me move it.
There we go.
Like this. I couldn't generate this with Blender. The way the masking and the way the borders and stuff happen, like there's a mask in the center, a square mask in the center, and there's stuff
Mm-hmm.
going on around it. But the way that the borders and the stuff interacts on the edges, like the amount of work you would have to do to make that happen in
Right.
Blender, like you might not even be able to
Uh-huh.
visualize what you would want to make that happen. So little things like this open up
Mhm.
new avenues for us. Like that's the most exciting thing for me, is this, like, we're just getting
Okay.
these new ways of approaching like this. Like how could I possibly make this in Blender?
Totally,
You know
yes.
what I mean?
Right. Absolutely.
And that's just because I'm making these masks in Blender and then applying contexts to the parts of the masks.
Right. Is it like
Here's another
either
good
I
example.
missed it, or like is it surprising to you that we don't have like a really extreme artistic shift right now when they see that right back, while similar to back in the day of the modern art, that people are like, holy shit, this is a completely new way to like see things or like create visual experiences and stuff.
We're so early, man. We're so early.
Probably.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, that's probably true.
I
If you think
as
about the early
people see
modern art, it
and
was
they're-
like classic art, a little bit more strange, but not completely different. So it's probably like 10 years down the line, it's going to be much more interesting than now. That's true.
Yeah.
Sorry, go
You know,
on. You
but
talk.
also all people see right now are the popular AI videos, the
Right.
the things turning into, like, the food turning into dogs and stuff. So that's their view of what AI looks like right now. But
Yeah.
you know, some of us are doing different things, and it
Mm.
just needs, people just need to see it, and they will. And like right now, you know, the only people seeing my stuff are the people that are into this stuff. So if
Mhm.
this were to get, you know, catch fire and be in a music video or be somewhere, like, things will go faster and faster. But again, Comfy's been out for what, a year and a half, 2 years?
Right. Yes, it's
We're
very
just
early.
so early.
Yeah. I always look at the like comparison to what social media is compared to what we had before, and I could have not imagined at the start, because I can remember when I was sitting there and looking at social media the first time and was like, how is this like really different from a forum? And isn't a forum much better way than like, you know, because I was like where we met back in the days. So, or like a how is it different to use Facebook compared to a blog or something like that? And then now, of course, we understand it, and it has an extreme like social and cultural impact, and like really changed society completely. And also the different forms of media have completely be reworked through this social media. And it was really like not possible to see these kind of changes beforeward. So I'm really looking forward to where AI is changing society, you know? So
yeah, I think as we see it, like as we see this kind of stuff adopted into film and all that stuff, it'll become part of our cultural context. But right now, it's sort of, it's outlier stuff. It's still out in the trenches.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still very
and yeah,
weird.
I'm really excited to see where it goes. I'm really excited to see what Hollywood does with these tools once they stop being afraid of them.
Right.
And,
Totally.
But also, you know, there's that whole the ethics thing, the training data that, you know, it has to be addressed at some point.
Right.
I know Runway has a deal with Lionsgate right now. I think they're training a whole new model on Lionsgate stuff. So that'll be a model that Hollywood will be able to use without any fear of you know, copyright problems and stuff, because they own all the stuff that went into it.
Interesting.
So yeah, that'll be exciting to see as things get more streamlined.
Totally, yes. I'm curious to see if we will get like a new concept of either what copyright is, or like replacing copyright with something else.
Nice.
And when you think about like the streaming services compared to the torrents that we had before, and like, oh, we can't do that, and you have to buy the songs and blind, where's the money coming from? And now you pay like $10 and get like everything you can watch and listen to in a package deal. it's really crazy that before nobody could imagine, if you don't buy a DVD for like $20 or $10 or whatnot, you can't watch the movie, and now you can watch 10 movies in one night if you want to. And I don't know how they make the money from that, but apparently it's enough. And also they shifted it over when you look at music, where music is not the actual thing where the musician makes money. It's more the concerts, the live events, the merchandise, stuff like that. So this kind of like shift from one thing is the, how can I say? One thing is the medium and one thing is the product, but the product and the medium don't have to be the same thing, which is kind of like also true for us basically, because the medium we have is YouTube, but YouTube doesn't really pay us. So the product is more like, I don't know, consulting and sponsorship and Patreon and stuff like that. But the information is free. But it makes sense. That's the interesting thing. Like in the past, I was always looking for something where I can do stuff for free for the most people and then just have some people pay me a lot. The companies. So yeah, and that makes a lot more sense, I feel like. I feel like most of the people shouldn't pay for stuff, and then only the people who it is actually useful for should pay for the stuff, or for like a specific experience. If you really want to go to the live concert, you have to pay for that. But if I just want to listen to that in a stream for 8 hours, no, that's, and I feel that makes a lot of sense.
I mean, I'm of two minds about that because Spotify and streaming audio killed the music industry.
No,
it completely devalued music to the point where you can't make money as a normal musician anymore. It's impossible. That sucks. But on the other side, now I have access to all the music in the world for $10 a month. So as a consumer, I don't care.
Right.
I think it's great. As a musician, it sucks because I can't make money on music anymore. I have to become a t-shirt salesman. So, it causes you to diversify. So you
wait a second. Wait a second, but you can still make money. You just have to get the money from a different source.
No.
That's a difference.
Yes. But that means you have to diversify and change your. Like you used to be able to just be a band.
That's the same as with AI. You have to learn new things. You can't get stuck at the old ways and say, "Oh, I play my guitar in a nice way. I get money for that." That's not the case anymore. So play your guitar in a nice way, make some cool TikToks, and then sell some shirts.
Right, but that's unfortunate for the people who just want to play guitar and don't want to learn how to do TikTok.
That's what it is.
Oh, I know, and I'm aware of all of the state of things. But what I'm saying is, as a traditional musician, it is a worse situation to be in, to have to focus on diversifying all of your stuff and not focus on your music. So it's yes, it's the way things are, but it's not necessarily a better way. It's just the way things are now. So
it's not a better way, but you could, with the same right, you could say, hey, I like to make bread with my hand. Where is the handmade bread market? And you can find a niche for that, but most people buy their bread in a supermarket, So it's just it just
there'll always be a place. There'll always be a place for craft.
Yeah, you have to figure out a different way to do that. Maybe you are exclusive baker, or you make workshops, or you write a cooking book. But it's just a different world, But I don't agree that, for my perspective, it is that actually like the streaming services have liberated the artists, because now everybody can bring their art to the world if they want to. How they make money with that's a different thing, because they have to figure out it's not through the music, it's through something else. But more people than ever, especially without any labels that press them down and suck them dry, can actually make music and make money from their art or from their community, without any kind of label behind them. They could just do it and be musicians, be artists, and then maybe become famous on TikTok and sell their shit,
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but the thing is, there are about 20 bands and about 40 artists in the world making money, actual money, doing music now. Everyone else is just trying to scrape by getting sync placements and selling merch and becoming a TikTok person, and the having to constantly dilute your focus is
Uh-huh.
not a good result for the art itself. So you know, like
I don't know.
it's a double-edged sword. It's there's two sides to this, and as a traditional musician, I hate
Uh-huh.
where we are, but as an AI artist, it is what it is. So like, yeah, you know, it's a heady mix of people
I
not
don't
being able to
know.
focus and music, but music has been completely devalued,
Right, right,
like to the
right.
point where
Yeah.
you like music doesn't like has no value to people anymore. It is just background noise. And
Right.
then everything else attached to it is, you
Right.
know, the thing that has value, and that's sad. It is sad. And
Right,
you
right,
know,
right.
kind of, it is the way it is.
Uh-huh,
But yeah,
uh-huh.
you're right. You know, you do have to just diversify and make it work. But
Yeah.
it's unfortunate that we're losing a lot of really great musicians because they don't want to become TikTok stars. You know, they don't want to deal with that. They would rather just make music and get good at being musicians, like local jazz musicians, things like that. People that are just absolutely killing it
I mean, they
live
can
that
still
can't
go
get
to
any.
labels, you know, if they want to. The labels are still
Well,
a thing, you know, so it's not
the
like they're gone.
labels. The problem is labels have the labels have the labels have developed their business tactics to the point where they screw over artists so badly you don't even know you're getting screwed over.
Yeah, but they did
Ask.
that always.
Oh, I did that always, yes, but they're even more efficient at doing it now.
Yes, that's true.
So you know,
Right.
it's none of it's good. None of it's good. We're just making our way through the world and trying to
Right.
carve a niche out for ourselves, basically.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I know what you mean, and I see it also with like in the fine art world. Either you know how to play the how do you say, what is it called
The
in the
game.
news? The line, the text on the news is called the headline. Either you know how to
Mhm.
play with the headlines, or you don't know that, and then nobody cares. So you have to
Yeah.
like play the media game. So and that influences what kind of art you can do, because if it's not popular art that like you can like drum up a lot of like news around that, who cares about that? If it's like slow art, or maybe it gets famous when you're like 80 and don't care anymore.
Or dead.
Or dead, yes.
Usually
Or
after you
dead.
die, you become very famous.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I also feel like that is also a part of cultural evolution, that society and culture doesn't have to be open to everybody and anybody in any way. It has to be, you have to be like, if you want to be a famous artist in your time, you have to be an artist in your time. You can't be like an artist from the 1850s and hope to be famous in the same way when the time has changed around that. It just doesn't work. You have to play it in the way that is now the way. And if you think, for example, about film, we have a lot of like famous artists that have like completely lost their stardom as soon as they added sound to film, because they were good actors but had a shit voice, and suddenly nobody wants to see them anymore. And then you had other artists spring up who are good at like acting but also have a cool voice and can use that voice in an artistic way, and they became the stars. And of course you could say, but what about these other artists? How can they just want to act, they don't want to diversify into having a good voice, or they haven't been born with a good voice? But yeah, that's just what it is, you know. It's just how the medium changes, and you have to play the game of the medium, because it's, yeah.
Sure. But at some
So
point,
I see more,
that
I
change.
understand your perspective, but I also see it from where are we and how it changes. We can't like keep, we can't get stuck in the old ways just to keep people like successful who can only do it in the old ways, you know. So
Yeah. So that works until humans are removed from the equation.
yeah, okay, but that's like,
So we're maybe 5 to 10 years away from the AI being so good that it's going to make better stuff than the
I don't
humans anyway.
know.
So, oh no, we
Technically,
definitely are.
yes. Technically, yes. But the thing about that is, we are, as humans, extremely selfish and like in love with ourselves. We love to look at things that other people did. We don't love to look at like machine stuff. It doesn't. We don't care too much about that.
But you know what
So,
humans love more than that?
like saving money,
Making money.
making money.
Yeah. Being greedy. So yeah, I mean, like,
Right.
yeah, like, yeah, it's an interesting time to be an artist. It's
Yeah. Totally.
absolutely crazy.
Right. 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 Yeah. But I feel like right now we do have like extreme superstars in all kinds of ways. Let's say, like, for example, with music, Justin Bieber. But then you have a lot of guys like who are on Twitch, or they are on like YouTube, or on I don't know where, and they have maybe 200,000 followers, or maybe just 60,000 followers, and they make enough to get like a comfortable life. At least they get more than playing in a shitty bar with like 50 people sitting there listening to them, or maybe just 10 people, you know. So I think if you and I mean that, like, as a musician, you're an entertainer. So why wouldn't you be an entertainer on social media? I understand, like, people don't want to play in front of a camera in an empty room. It's not that engaging instead of like being on a stage, but yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a different approach. The best part about playing live music is being around people.
Right.
And when you take that into the bedroom, and yeah, the people are there, but they're an audience that is not in your room with you. You cannot feed off their energy. You can't see the smiles on their faces. You can't watch them bop their heads. It is a different experience, and it becomes more performative and less
Right.
less inclusive.
Reactive.
So yeah, you know, it's just
Totally.
yeah, you know how it is.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, I mean, so I'm just glad people still record concerts, so I can sit at home and watch them. You know,
Label Triple Bunker says labels don't pick up risks anymore.
no,
That's okay, no, but why should
the
they?
thing
You
is,
know,
well, they should, because that's their job. Their job is to take a chance on you and make you better. Right
Right.
now, a label will only pick you up if you already have a following, which means what the hell do I need the label for? I've already got the following.
I don't think that's their job. The same with gallerists. They don't give a fuck about you or your art. They just want to have someone they can sell, and that's the thing. Like there may be some labels and some gallerists who actually care about the artists they work with, but they don't care unless you make them enough money. They just want to milk you, and if you don't make money, the friendship ends at that day, you know. So I don't believe in the good-hearted
oh, it's not good-hearted. It's artist development. It's artist development is a way to it's a way to make your investment better. So like it's not even from even from a jaded point of view, it still makes sense for the label to make you a better musician, make you a better performer, make you a better at doing your thing, so that you can sell more records. So
the label does that?
It's not selfless. It's definitely part of it. Oh yeah, like look up artist development. It's a huge part of what labels do. But if they
yeah, but this isn't the artist development that a label does to develop you into a product rather than develop you artistically to become more artistically relevant. I don't think anybody cares about that, especially not with pop music.
No, they do. I mean, that's why they team up young pop stars with like Bruno Mars or something to teach them how to be better songwriters. Like, the artist development it's not selfless, but it does help the artist. You know, they get you into a better recording studio so that you sound better. You don't sound like you sound like you're recording at your friend's trashy, you know, studio. Things like that. So like it's by all means not selfless. It's in their best interest to make you sound better.
I have to be honest, I have to look into that, like, because I know a lot of stories where the artists say, hey, the label wanted it and we hated it, but it was our most successful song or whatever, like with the Beastie Boys or such, with like Don't Sleep Till Brooklyn, or what is it called? I think they really hated that song, but it was a party anthem, so it sold really well and stuff like that.
And that's the thing, labels are almost always wrong.
Right.
They can't even pick the singles. Usually it's the band's sister or something that's like, release this one and this one and this one, and they've got a better ear than all the A&R guys at the label. It's like, it's people trying to make money, people that have talked their way into jobs they probably shouldn't have.
Right.
Yeah, how it is. Yeah, the industry's insane.
Totally. Money? What? Yeah, Justin Bieber developed pretty well. He like kind of like he changed at some point, I think. I didn't really follow him, but I like his latest stuff. He
Yeah,
really like
and that kid started talented. Like
right.
that's the thing. Like he was amazing when he was 16. And then they nurtured that. And but he's been doing a lot of stuff with like Skrillex and stuff, and he's gone into
Really?
a whole new place. Like yeah, his latest few albums have been really cool.
Oh.
And like he's I always said it'd be really interesting to see what he does when he's 30, because like he was already awesome when he was 16. So now that he's older, it's cool to see what's happening as he's getting more and more seasoned and understands what he likes more. And it's fun to watch artists grow like that.
Right, right, right. Yes,
It's
yes.
fun to see where they can take what might have been teeny bopper stuff when they were young, just take that. Like even Justin Timberlake, like I don't love his latest stuff, but there was a period there when he was working
Uh-huh.
with like Pharrell, and like that stuff was awesome. And
Right.
that came from boy band stuff. So you never know where the
Uh-huh,
people are going
uh-huh.
to come up from, but that talent, that skill, that ear, the all that stuff that just transcends all of it. If the artist is an artist, they will continue to be an artist and they will grow. If they are a product, they will continue to be a product and not grow.
Right, right, right. Although I feel like there is not many artists who can grow like him and actually change and still be successful. So he's like a, how do you say? A single kind of like a rare kind of artist.
Hmm.
You don't have that too
Yeah.
often where they like switch through different styles and still are really good at what they do, so often
Hmm.
they just stick to it and then get old with their sound,
Yeah.
it's really interesting.
No, you have to keep growing. You have to be not afraid to look at yourself and change.
Right, right, right.
Because what works right now will never work for more than couple years.
Yes, yeah, totally. By the way, how do you see your future as a YouTuber? Do you think you do that in like 10 years still, or
For me, YouTube is just a place where I can live stream. I only use YouTube because it's the easiest for everybody to go back and watch the streams.
right?
I don't do the like 10-minute videos, the
Oh,
I don't do any of that stuff. I only do my live streams and the AI news every week. Just a
okay.
quick sort of thing.
Why aren't you,
YouTube
if you
is
do
just
only streaming, why not Twitch?
because Twitch doesn't save your VODs. I want there to be an archive of all my work so that people can go
Twitch
back.
doesn't save the videos anymore. They used to
Saves them
save
for
the
about three
complete
months.
stream.
Saves them for about 3 months and then they disappear. And it's a
Oh,
terrible
yeah,
interface.
okay.
Terrible interface to search and all that stuff. Like I like that
Right.
all my videos are on YouTube. You can just search Purz and whatever concept you need, and there'll be a
Mm.
video about it, and you can just go through it and find it. So I like the visibility, the comfort, the ease of YouTube. But as far as being a famous YouTuber, I don't have a lot of interest in that. I have more interest in developing my own community with Patreon and that, and YouTube is just a place for me to park my videos essentially.
Right, right, right.
If there was
Yeah,
a better
makes sense.
service than YouTube, I would use it. I think it's the most ubiquitous and the easiest place. Because like I
Mm.
mean I don't make a lot of money off YouTube at all.
Right,
Um,
right, yeah.
but that it all feeds the Patreon and it feeds the other work
Right.
that I do, and I get hired to do consulting and stuff. So it's just a
Totally.
platform. It's like Spotify. You make no money making
Yes,
music and putting
yes.
it on Spotify, but I can say go listen to my music on Spotify and somebody can hear it. Then they might hire me to make a soundtrack. So
That's it.
it's
Yes, it's like
it's a
advertisement
calling
for
card.
yourself,
It's yeah,
basically.
exactly.
Right, right, right. Yeah, it's the same for me. Like, I think a lot of people might think because I have so many followers, I like have a big car and whatnot. But no, you don't get much money from YouTube. You don't
No,
get
but
like a big
you're also
paycheck.
really good at the mid form content, the 10-minute videos, the explainer videos. Like you're good at that stuff. I'm bad at that stuff. I'm not
Right,
good
right,
at
right.
making a succinct video like that. I kind of just need to barf it all out for 2 hours, and people can sort of
Yeah,
go back and check it out because it's just like too
right.
much work for me to try to contain these videos. So I'm always in awe of people that can make those, 5 to 15 minute explainer videos where you're just diving into a concept with examples and all that stuff. I think
Right,
it's
right, right.
awesome. It's just that I'm bad at it. I'm just terrible at it.
I
I'd
mean,
rather just dive in for hours
for me it's like before I started YouTube, I did like a lecture at the university for like a year or something, or 2 years I think, and there I read, because I had no idea on how to teach, and they gave me a book like on how to prepare for that. And one thing the book said was, don't try to teach everything, just like focus on one part. And
Yeah.
because information is very soon a lot too much for people, so even if it's just like a tiny thing you tell them, it's much better than telling them 10 things in the same amount of time. And so this is for like with my videos, I just like focus on one thing. And that's why they are so short, because I just show, like yesterday's video was just one new node and how it works. And but that's enough. People don't have to figure out how to do it for themselves, and it fills up the 10 minutes, and it's good content that you can like consume and then do something else with your life. Because otherwise, if you do it for hours, and then it's like just too much. Especially, you have to think about like, if people want to follow it and try it out for themselves, if you make a 10-minute video, for them to watch it and build it and rewatch it is maybe half an hour, 45 minutes. So if it's like 1 hour, it means for them 3, 4, 5 hours to recreate what you create in that 1 hour, you know? So
Yeah.
it has to be, the small chunks are good because they don't have like unlimited time to recreate it for them. You know,
Yeah,
so.
that's why I leave those videos to the people who are good at them. You know,
Yeah,
my
right,
stuff
right,
is
right.
my stuff is like courses basically for free. So
Yeah,
just a
totally. Yeah.
different approach, and that's why I'm more focused on the Patreon and building the community, because I
Right.
only really want people around that want to do that stuff, and then you can go watch your videos with Sebastian or any of the other people that are making these nice mid form content videos to get your feet wet, and then you can dive in and go crazy with it if you want.
Right. Do you
Yeah.
do a workshop or something, a paid workshop that people can join?
Yeah, I'm working on one right now. Working on a professional comfy course for
Okay.
people who want to go deeper. Yeah,
Awesome.
I'll have more info on that soon. On Twitter and X or Instagram, all that stuff,
Right, right, right.
and all
Very
that.
good.
I'll probably do that as separate from Patreon because it's
Of course.
more professional course. Like I think I'm gonna build my own platform, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking of doing like Udemy and stuff, but I don't know. It's
I
stuff so
hate
niche.
Udemy. They have too many sales there.
Yeah, that's
Everything
sort
is
of what I
like
was thinking. It's like
90%
I
off.
don't
It looks
yeah,
cheap.
yeah. I don't like
You know.
unauthorized sales. I don't mind doing sales, but I
Right.
don't want my stuff to constantly be 40% off, whatever.
Right.
Just feel like bargain basement stuff. So
You could
yeah,
look into Gumroad and then give people
yeah,
like
Gumroad's all right.
send the people an email for a link where you do live things for the workshop. And
Yeah, no,
another idea
I'm
would be to
gonna.
have the people who have finished your workshop to make for example, like a Facebook group for them, or a Discord where they can hang out afterwards, or a specific like Discord chat that only they can see, so that the
Yeah.
people who have like come out of your course, they can like connect about the course stuff, you know.
Yeah,
So that makes
absolutely.
sense.
That's the plan for sure. Is like I already have a Discord, but we start doing the Q&A and the that part for those users who've paid for the course or whatever. They'll get a special role and access to that channel and things like that. So yeah, absolutely.
Right, right, right.
Basically, I just want to roll it all into what I already have and build it out so that it's all very organic, easy to use.
Right,
I found a
totally.
few platforms where you can basically create your own website for the course, and then
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's where I think I'm headed, is just building that, and then maybe down the road I'll bring in more educators to dive and drill into
Good
different
idea.
topics and stuff, stuff that I'm not great at, and together we can provide some professional courses for people that really want to take this from a hobby to a job.
Right, right, right. Sounds great. Sounds good. Yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity for that. There's so many companies and people who want to learn about that.
Yeah.
And of course, also it's like a future job market. The more you know, the better you're off in like a couple of years when this stuff is required.
Plus,
So
anybody who gets a job off of your course, they're going to remember who taught them. And if some other thing comes up, they might just hire you to consult
right,
to help build out whatever it is that they got hired for. So like all this stuff, it's all connections and people and not being closed off from the community. You gotta dive in and talk to people, make some friends.
Right. Totally.
Yeah.
Is there something in the chat today? Constant amounts from social media, TV, and the internet. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, of course, yes.
Brain rot. Yeah, there's a lot of brain rot out there.
I feel that lately. I watch too many shorts. Like I watch every day when I wake up. I watch 1 hour of shorts. It's crazy, right? And it melts my brain. I don't have the short time memory is really terrible from that.
I know.
And also wasting time. I could watch like a movie or something else in that time, or go for a walk. No, I watch some stupid shit on these shorts. So
there's actually a service called PDF to brain rot, and it you can take like something like that's hard to ingest, and it'll turn it into one of those like long form TikTok videos where it's talking, but it's also showing like a clip of Subway Surfers.
Right.
So you can ingest the information in a brain rot format. So,
right.
The world is getting different. The world is
totally yes. Yeah. I wonder when we see that in also news or something, they play a little bit of a clip of Minecraft next to the news.
I know. It won't be long.
Yeah. I saw a video about a teacher talking about that, where she played some Minecraft videos next to her lecture and said, okay, the people are actually listening more if I do that. Yeah,
because it turns off the part of your brain that might be wandering.
Right.
And you can just kind of focus on the task at hand. So I get it. And I think it's as someone with ADHD, it works on me.
Right.
But I think it can also cause a bit of, it can cause that problem too in people that maybe don't have this issue. People who can focus, maybe they don't need that extra distraction. Yeah.
Right. By the way, one thing I tried in the past, because when you have Kindle or something, you can have a AI voice read the book to you. And you can set it 2 times, 3 times speed.
Yeah.
And I think 3 times is still something where you can understand it. And the interesting thing is, when you play it at that speed, it almost feels like your own thoughts in your brain.
It's so fast.
And it makes you a little bit dizzy. And if you do that a lot and afterwards you watch normal speed videos, you're like, holy shit, that's so slow.
Come on, hurry up. Yeah.
Right. And your brain kind of adapts to that, which kind of makes me think maybe we should kind of evolve a little bit in that way, where media or content is just running a lot faster because we can handle it and we have more information. And I feel like the amount of information you retain, it's kind of the same. A lot of the stuff that you have in books or in text is fluff that you don't really need, and you retain the stuff you actually care about, and yeah, that's it. But it just goes into you a lot faster like that.
Yeah, I would just always give the user the option to speed it up.
Yeah, of course. Right.
A lot of people don't want to speed it up, but I watch a lot of TikTok videos with my finger on the screen, fast forwarding it 2 times because get to the point.
Right. It's kind of I'm surprised there is not any YouTube channel which plays all their videos in standard 2 times. They upload it in 2 times speed. It's kind of interesting because I think people would go for that maybe.
Yeah. Or you could do that.
Yeah, just set it to 2
settings.
times.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm glad that option exists. It's also good. The half speed stuff is also good when somebody's talking too fast. Yeah, no, it's good to have the option.
Yeah, it's kind of for my videos, for example, I often think oh God, should I bring more examples or less examples? Because if I bring too few examples, people say, we want to see more examples. But then if I do too many examples, people don't watch all of that through. So it's kind of difficult to figure it out. And sometimes I think would be better to have that part in a higher speed so people can see all of the examples, get the full explanation, while not wasting all of that time,
Yeah, the golden rule is 3 examples, right? 3 is pretty much the magic number. More than 3 and it sounds like you're beating it over the head. Less than 3 and you might not get a good idea of what's going on. So
Right.
And it also depends how long you take to show each example. So it's all relative.
By the way, we are at 2 hours 41.
Complex it is. Oh my God.
Maybe we should end the stream, I guess.
Sounds good.
Right? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Good. It was a really cool conversation. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I love talking to you, man. It's great.
Yeah, it was really nice. Thank you for everything you showed us. Was really interesting. Very nice introduction to all of the video AI animate diff things. And if you want to see more, absolutely subscribe to. 1 second, I should have done that during the stream to put your channel on my chat. 1 second. Why didn't I sticky that? Should have done that. 1 second. Let me put that in there a couple of times. Where's the chat? Before everybody goes, there you go. Give him some subscription, please, or like follow. There we go. And if you're really interested, do you have like more LoRa's and stuff on your Patreon, or like workflows and stuff, or?
No, I stopped giving out my workflows because companies were wrapping them into tools,
right,
and selling them without me around. So I just teach you how to make them. So follow along and make it yourself. And yeah,
cool.
And plus, I feel like that makes you understand what you're doing. Like, it's really easy to just start downloading workflows and never understand what you're doing.
That's true. Yes.
So that can be a very slippery slope on its own.
Right.
It's always better to try to build it along with the person, I think, and it builds the connections in your brain.
Yeah, makes sense. Absolutely. Okay, awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a really great time, and see you soon.
Definitely. Thank you very much. Have a good one.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye. All right, there we go. That's it for today. That was a pretty interesting stream. It was pretty amazing to have all of these details, all of that insight was really amazing. I have to try out more with video AI too locally. I was always like stuck a little bit too much on the image content because I find that very interesting, but video AI is also very, very nice. Yes. Okay, thank you very much. Let me find the end video. There we go. And thanks for watching. See you soon. Leave a like, maybe subscribe if you haven't yet to my channel, and have a good night or a good day. Bye.